Ireland's landscape is a place where the mist rises off ancient hills, the wind whispers through the trees, and the stones seem to hold memories of times long gone. It is a land alive with stories, a place where myth and reality intertwine. In the heart of Ireland's culture lies its mythology, tales that were not just told but lived by the people for centuries. These stories aren't just entertainment, they are the soul of a people, woven into their land, their beliefs, and their identity. Celtic culture is one of the oldest in Europe, stretching back thousands of years. The Celts, a group of tribal societies, spread across much of Europe, but Ireland became their stronghold. The Celts lived close to the natural world, believing that everything around them, the trees, rivers, stones, and animals, held spirits. They saw magic in everyday life, in the changing of the seasons, and the rising and setting of the sun. For them, the world was alive with energy, and their myths reflected this deep connection with nature. These myths were not just idle stories, they were a way of understanding the world, explaining the mysteries of life and death, love and war, creation and destruction. The Celts believed that their gods walked among them, that the land was filled with beings both beautiful and terrifying. They saw their world as one where the ordinary and the extraordinary existed side by side. The line between the human and the divine was often blurred, and it was in this space that Irish mythology was born. The tales of the gods, heroes, and creatures of Irish mythology were passed down orally through the generations by the Fili, the poets and storytellers of ancient Ireland. These stories weren't written down until centuries later, long after the Celts had been Christianized, but they survived through the power of memory and tradition. The stories took root in the land itself, with every river, hill, and lake holding its own legend. At the heart of Irish mythology is the Tuatha Dé Danann, the people of the goddess Danu, a mystical race of gods and warriors who arrived in Ireland in a swirl of mist and magic. They were not mere mortals, but beings of immense power, skilled in arts, magic, and warfare. They brought with them the knowledge of the heavens and the earth, and they shaped Ireland into the land it would become. The Tuatha Dé Danann were not distant, unreachable gods. They lived and fought on Irish soil, their struggles and triumphs mirroring those of the people who told their stories. Yet, the Tuatha Dé Danann were not Ireland's first inhabitants. Before them came the Firbolg, and before the Firbolg, there were others. Irish mythology speaks of waves of invaders, each shaping the land and its people, each leaving behind their own stories. The land itself was sacred to the Celts, and every battle fought, every love lost, every victory won was tied to the very soil of Ireland. One of the most important aspects of Celtic belief was the idea that the past was always alive in the present. Their myths were not relics of a forgotten time, but living, breathing parts of their everyday existence. The stories of Cú Chulainn, Finn McCool, and the children of Lyre were not just told for entertainment, they were woven into the very fabric of life. These heroes were more than just figures of the past, they were symbols of courage, loyalty, and honor, values that were central to Celtic life. In Celtic society, the gods and goddesses weren't distant beings watching from above, they were part of the world, influencing daily life in ways both subtle and dramatic. The goddess Brigid, for instance, was not just a goddess of fire and healing, she was a protector, a source of inspiration, a guiding force in times of need. Her presence could be felt in the warmth of a hearth fire, in the healing of a wound, in the poetic words of a song. To the Celts, Brigid wasn't just a story, she was a force of nature, a comfort in dark times. The Morrigan, a fearsome goddess of war and fate, was another figure who walked through both myth and reality. She wasn't just a symbol of death and destruction, but a reminder of the cycles of life, the inevitability of change. Her presence on the battlefield was as much about renewal as it was about endings. The Celts understood that life and death were intertwined, that destruction was necessary for creation, and the Morrigan embodied that balance. The otherworld, where the gods resided, was not some distant paradise, but a place that was always close, just out of reach, hidden behind a veil of mist. It was a place where time flowed differently, where the rules of the mortal world did not apply. The boundaries between the world of the living and the world of the gods were thin, especially during certain times of the year, like Samhain, when the veil lifted and the spirits of the dead could walk among the living. These times were sacred, filled with both fear and reverence, as the people sought to honor their ancestors and appease the gods. The Celtic festivals were more than just celebrations, they were moments when the ordinary world touched the magical. During Beltane, fires were lit on hilltops to mark the beginning of summer, a time when the people sought the protection of the gods for their livestock and crops. The festivals were times of renewal, of hope, of connection with forces greater than themselves. The Druids, the spiritual leaders of the Celts, guided these rituals, acting as intermediaries between the people and the gods, their knowledge of nature and magic deeply respected. But Irish mythology wasn't just about gods and goddesses, it was also about the relationships between people, the bonds of family and friendship, the struggles for power and honor. The tales of Irish heroes, like Cú Chulainn, were filled with passion and tragedy, love and loss. These were not perfect beings, they were flawed, deeply human in their struggles. Cú Chulainn's rage, his loneliness, his desire for glory, all mirrored the emotions of the people who heard his story. The myths reflected the complexities of life, the choices people had to make, the consequences they faced. Even the landscape itself seemed alive with myth. The rivers, the hills, the forests, everything had a story attached to it. The River Boyne, for instance, was not just a river, it was a goddess, Bone, whose sacrifice created the waters. Every stone, every tree, every lake was tied to the mythic past, as if the land itself was a living reminder of the stories that shaped it. These tales are the heartbeat of Ireland, passed from generation to generation, spoken in the warmth of firesides and the rhythm of ancient songs, in the quiet of the countryside where the wind still carries the whispers of the gods. Irish mythology is not just history, it is a living, breathing presence in the land, in the people, and the very essence of what it means to be Irish. In the silence of a misty dawn, when the world seems to hold its breath, there's a feeling that something more exists just beyond sight. For the ancient Irish, this wasn't just a feeling, it was a truth. The world they knew wasn't limited to what they could see and touch. There was more, much more. Their lives were part of something vast and mysterious, where the boundaries between the living, the dead, and the divine were thin, almost fragile. To the Celts, the cosmos wasn't a distant place of stars and planets. It was woven into the land itself, into the hills and rivers, into the trees and the sky. Everything had a spirit, a pulse of life. The wind that whispered through the leaves carried messages from unseen forces. The stones beneath their feet held the memory of ancient gods. Life and death weren't separate, they flowed into each other like the tide. One of the most powerful ideas in this ancient worldview was the existence of the otherworld. It wasn't some far-off, unreachable heaven. It was a place that ran alongside the world of the living, close enough to touch, if you knew how to look. The otherworld was Tír na nÓg, the land of eternal youth, a place where beauty never faded, where time moved differently, or sometimes didn't move at all. It wasn't bound by the rules of the mortal world. Time could stretch or shrink, a moment there could be a lifetime here. Those lucky, or unlucky, enough to visit might return after what felt like a short stay, only to find that years, even centuries, had passed in their absence. Tír na nÓg was a place of endless beauty and joy. It was where the gods lived, where the heroes of old went when their mortal lives ended. But it wasn't always a peaceful paradise. There were dangers too. Not everyone who entered the otherworld came back. It was a place of mystery and magic, where the rules were always shifting, where beings far more powerful than humans held sway. But the otherworld wasn't the only spiritual plane. The Celts believed in layers of existence, with the world of the living nestled between others. These realms weren't entirely separate, they touched, overlapped, and sometimes bled into one another. The line between the physical world and the spiritual one was always shifting, like a river winding through a forest, sometimes visible, sometimes hidden among the trees. In this world, the land of the living was vibrant, filled with the energies of nature, the ancestors, and the gods. Every part of it was alive with meaning. A lake wasn't just a body of water, it was a gateway, a threshold between this world and the next. A hill wasn't just earth and stone, it might be the dwelling place of ancient spirits, or a burial mound for kings who still watched over the land. The land of the living wasn't a simple, solid thing. It was full of doorways and hidden paths leading to places where time and space twisted and turned. The Irish believed that these other worlds could be reached, not through distant stars, but through the natural world around them. The other world was thought to be closest at certain times of the year, especially during Samhain, the festival that marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. It was a time when the veil between worlds grew thin, and the spirits of the dead could return to the land of the living. Fires were lit to guide them home, and food was left out to honor and welcome them. But it wasn't just the spirits of loved ones that crossed over. Beings from the other world, some friendly, some not, were also free to roam. These times of crossing, when the veil was thin, were sacred. The Celts knew they were living in a world full of unseen forces, and they respected that. They didn't fear the dead in the way that some cultures might. Death wasn't an end, it was just a passage from one state of being to another. The dead weren't gone, they were still with them, watching, guiding, sometimes even interfering in the affairs of the living. The spiritual realms weren't always far away either. They could be found in unexpected places. A cave might lead to a world beneath the earth. A spring might bubble up from the other world itself, bringing with it the wisdom of the gods. The boundary between the seen and unseen was thin everywhere. The Druids, the spiritual leaders of the Celts, were the ones who understood these mysteries most deeply. They were the ones who could see the connections between the worlds, who could speak with the spirits and ask for their guidance. They knew how to read the signs in the natural world, how a certain bird's flight might carry a message from the gods, or how the shape of the clouds might reveal the future. For them, the cosmos was alive, always speaking, always moving. But these other worlds weren't just for gods and druids. Ordinary people could, and sometimes did, stumble into them. There are countless stories of men and women who wandered into a fairy hill or followed a strange light through the forest, only to find themselves in a place where time flowed differently, where they met beings who could grant them gifts or curses. The other world was both alluring and dangerous, a place of incredible beauty and terrible power. The Irish view of the cosmos was rich and layered, full of awe and reverence for the unseen forces that shaped their lives. The stars, the sun, the moon, they were all part of this great, interconnected web. The sun was a source of life, rising each day to warm the earth and guide the living. The moon was mysterious, its phases marking the passage of time, its pale light a reminder of the other world's presence in the night. The Celts didn't need to leave their world to find the divine. The divine was everywhere, in the trees, the stones, the rivers, and the wind. The cosmos wasn't some far-off, cold expanse of stars. It was as close as the ground beneath their feet, as familiar as the sky above. The spirits of the land, the gods of the other world, and the souls of the dead, they were all part of the same great circle of existence, always turning, always shifting, always present. The world was alive with unseen forces, and the people of ancient Ireland knew that every step they took, every breath they drew, was filled with the magic of that cosmic dance. There is a tale whispered in the winds of Ireland, a story as old as the stones that stand watch over the green hills and as ancient as the rivers that cut through the land. It is a story of a people who were not like us, beings who were touched by the stars and filled with magic. They came to Ireland in a mist, in a time before time, and their presence forever changed the shape of the world. These were the Tuatha Dé Danann, the children of the goddess Danu, and their arrival marked the beginning of an era of wonder, power, and transformation. The Tuatha Dé Danann were not like the humans who would come to inhabit the land. They were taller, more beautiful, with a light in their eyes that hinted at something otherworldly. Their movements were graceful, almost too perfect, as if the very earth bent to their will. Each of them carried within themselves a gift, a magic that could bend nature, control the elements, or shape destiny. They were skilled in the arts of war, in healing, in poetry, and in the mysteries of the universe that mortals could barely comprehend. They didn't come to Ireland like conquerors. They arrived in a mist, as if the land itself had called them home. Some say they came on ships from a distant place, while others believe they simply materialized from the air, stepping out from the spaces between worlds. Their landing wasn't just an arrival, it was as though the land recognized them, welcomed them as if they had always belonged there. The moment they touched the soil, Ireland became something different, something magical. The leader of the Tuatha Dé Danann was Nuada, a king of great strength and wisdom. He carried with him a silver hand, a symbol of his resilience and power. In battle, Nuada's leadership was unmatched, and his presence alone could turn the tide of war. But he wasn't just a warrior, he was a protector, someone who cared for his people, and whose rule brought both strength and peace to the land. Under his guidance, the Tuatha Dé Danann flourished, their powers growing as they made Ireland their home. Beside Nuada stood a woman whose name is still spoken with reverence, Brigid, goddess of fire, of healing, and of inspiration. Brigid wasn't just a goddess of warmth and light, she was the spark that lived within every artist, every poet, every healer. Her flame wasn't something that only burned in the hearth, it was a flame that lived in the hearts of the people, something that gave them hope in the darkest of times. Brigid's touch could heal the sick, could mend broken hearts, and could inspire the creation of beauty beyond imagination. Wherever she walked, the land seemed to bloom with life, as though it recognized her spirit and responded to her presence. The Morrigan was another of the Tuatha Dé Danann, but where Brigid brought warmth, the Morrigan carried with her the cold shadow of fate. She was the goddess of war and prophecy, a figure who haunted the battlefield, deciding the fates of warriors with a glance. To see her before a battle was both a blessing and a curse. She could grant victory, but she also foretold death. Her presence was like the wind before a storm, filled with the promise of change, of endings and beginnings. She was terrifying in her beauty, a reminder that life and death are forever intertwined. Lugh was the shining warrior, a god whose brilliance could not be dimmed. He was the master of every skill, his talents boundless. Whether it was in the arts of war or the arts of the mind, Lugh excelled in everything he touched. His spear, known as the Spear of Lugh, never missed its mark, and his wisdom guided the Tuatha Dé Danann through the darkest of times. When Nuada fell in battle, it was Lugh who rose to take his place, leading his people with both strength and intelligence. His light was not just a physical one, it was the light of knowledge, of creativity, of endless possibility. Among them too was the Dagda, the Great Father, whose powers were as vast as the earth itself. He carried with him a harp that could control the seasons, and a cauldron that never emptied, providing sustenance for all who needed it. The Dagda was a figure of abundance, of generosity, but also of immense power. He could call forth life from the soil and command the forces of nature with a single word. His laughter could fill the land with joy, but his anger was a force of nature, a storm that could sweep across the plains with unstoppable fury. The Tuatha Dé Danann were not just warriors and gods. They were poets, healers, creators of music and magic. They understood the language of the stars, the secrets of the earth, and the mysteries of the soul. Every one of them held within themselves a spark of something divine, something that connected them to the very heart of the world. But even with all their power, the Tuatha Dé Danann were not invincible. They faced battles, not just with the Fir-Bolg and other ancient races, but with a new force, the Milesians, the ancestors of the modern Irish. The Milesians came with a fire and determination that rivaled even the gods. The final battle between these two forces would decide the fate of Ireland. It wasn't just a war of swords and spears, it was a battle for the very spirit of the land. When the dust settled, and the Milesians claimed victory, the Tuatha Dé Danann didn't disappear. They didn't die. Instead, they moved into the unseen spaces of Ireland. They retreated to the city, the hills and mounds that dot the Irish countryside. To this day, it is said that they still live there, watching over the land, their presence felt in the whispers of the wind, and the soft glow of twilight, in the places where the veil between worlds is thin. The Tuatha Dé Danann are more than just figures from the past. They are the heart of Ireland's soul, the pulse of its ancient memory. Their stories live on in every stream that flows, and every hill that rises, and the very fabric of the earth. They shaped not only the land, but the spirit of a people. Their magic, their power, their wisdom, it all still lingers, waiting, like a forgotten song, to be remembered. And so, when the mist rises in the early morning, or when the stars glitter just a little too brightly on a clear night, it's said that the Tuatha Dé Danann are watching, still present, still part of the land they once called home. Their story is Ireland's story, and it will never truly fade. There is something about the stories of Ireland that feels alive, like the land itself is telling them. These stories have lived for centuries, carried in the hearts of the people, whispered around fires, passed down through generations. They aren't just tales of old, they are the lifeblood of the Irish spirit, pulsing with magic, love, and tragedy. They are woven into the very soil, into the rivers, into the ancient stones. These stories aren't simply legends, they are a part of what makes Ireland, Ireland. The mythological cycle is where it all begins. This is the era of gods and goddesses, of beings who walk the earth with magic flowing through their veins. It was a time when the world was still young, when Ireland was shaped not just by hands, but by the will of beings more powerful than anything we can imagine. The stories of this cycle speak of the Tuatha Dé Danann, the children of the goddess Danu, and their battle for Ireland. They were the ones who brought magic to the land, whose powers were woven into the hills and rivers, into the very air. Their victories and defeats, their loves and losses, left marks on the world that can still be felt today. Their tale is not just of conquest, but of how Ireland became a place of wonder and mystery, a land where the supernatural and the natural live side by side. But there is more. The Ulster Cycle takes us from the divine to the human, but it is no less powerful. Here, the stories are of warriors and kings, of battles that shook the earth, of friendships that shaped destinies, and of betrayals that broke hearts. At the heart of this cycle is the story of Cú Chulainn, a hero whose strength was unmatched, but whose fate was always shadowed by tragedy. From a young boy, Cú Chulainn's path was marked by greatness, but also by sorrow. His deeds in battle were legendary. He defended his people with a ferocity that seemed otherworldly, and yet his heart was tender. He was a warrior who knew that glory came with a price that he paid with his own blood. The stories of Cú Chulainn are filled with moments of triumph, but they are also heavy with the weight of fate, with the knowledge that even the mightiest hero cannot escape the shadow of his own destiny. Then, there's the Fenian Cycle. This cycle is filled with tales of the Fianna, the band of warriors led by Finn McCool. If the Ulster Cycle was about the clash of kings and the tragedy of heroism, the Fenian Cycle feels more like the heartbeat of the people. It speaks of loyalty and bravery, of love and freedom. Finn himself is a figure of wisdom and strength, a leader who inspired fierce devotion from his warriors, and whose name is still spoken with reverence. The stories of the Fianna are not just about battles, though there are many, but about the bond between warriors, about the love of the land, and the magic that fills the forests and streams. Finn's story is intertwined with love, his deep, unbreakable love for Ireland, and the land's love for him. He was not just a hero, he was a protector, someone who understood the magic of the land and fought to keep it safe. The historical cycle feels like a bridge between myth and history. In these tales, the gods have stepped back, and the heroes are no longer touched by magic. But their stories still burn with passion and intensity. They are stories of kings and queens, of the rise and fall of empires, of battles fought not just for power, but for honor and for the soul of a nation. The historical cycle is where myth meets memory, where the lines between legend and reality blur. The kings and warriors of this cycle lived, but their stories have grown larger than life. They have become symbols of Ireland's strength, its resilience, its unbreakable spirit. Each of these cycles tells a different part of Ireland's story, but they are all connected by the same thread of magic and heartache, of joy and sorrow. They are stories of love, love for the land, for the people, for the very idea of Ireland. These cycles are not just legends. They are a way of understanding the soul of a people who have lived through centuries of hardship but have never lost their fire. Each tale carries within it a heartbeat, a pulse that is felt in every corner of the land. Through these stories, the past is not a distant memory, it is alive, flowing like a river through time. It is in the hills and the forests, in the ruins of ancient fortresses, and the winds that sweep across the plains. The gods, the heroes, the kings, they may be gone, but their presence lingers, echoing in the stories that are still told, and the songs that are still sung. These mythological cycles are not just about history or mythology, they are about something much deeper. They are about the spirit of a land that has always been more than just a place. Ireland's stories are filled with magic, yes, but they are also filled with humanity, with the joys and sorrows that make life what it is. They remind us that, whether we are gods or mortals, heroes or kings, we are all part of something larger, something eternal. The stories of Ireland are not just meant to be told, they are meant to be felt, to be lived. They are a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always light, always hope, always a story waiting to be told. And so, these cycles continue, weaving their way through the lives of the people, never forgotten, always there, waiting to stir the soul, to remind us of the magic that lives in the world around us. Long before the written word, before Ireland became known as the land of saints and scholars, a new people arrived on its shores. They were the Celts, and their coming would change Ireland forever. They didn't arrive with fanfare or as conquerors, but rather like a slow-moving tide, their influence washing over the island in ways that would blend with what was already there, creating something entirely new, something timeless. The Celts came from far away, traveling over mountains and rivers, through forests and valleys, always seeking new lands. They were a people whose hearts were full of stories, who carried with them a rich and vibrant culture, woven through with threads of magic, art, and fierce independence. When they set their eyes on Ireland, they saw not just a land, but a place that spoke to their very souls. The rolling green hills, the mist-covered valleys, the rugged coastlines, they felt like home. But Ireland was not empty when the Celts arrived. Long before they came, other peoples had already made their mark on the island. The mysterious builders of Newgrange and the other great stone monuments that dot the landscape had lived and thrived here. They, too, had their own stories, their own way of life. When the Celts arrived, they did not sweep away what had come before. Instead, they merged with it, their ways mingling with those of the ancient peoples who already called Ireland home. This mixing of cultures was not a violent clash, but more like a dance, a give and take that allowed something entirely new to be born. The Celts brought with them their language, their art, their traditions, but they also absorbed the wisdom and practices of the older inhabitants. Together, they forged a new identity for Ireland, one that was rich with layers of meaning and history. It was as if the land itself had called them, drawn them to its shores to add their voices to the great story of the island. The Celts were more than just warriors, though they were known for their bravery in battle. They were poets and musicians, dreamers and craftsmen. They saw the world through a lens of magic, believing that the land and its creatures were alive with spirits. The rivers, the trees, the stones, everything held a kind of sacred energy. To live in Ireland was not just to live on the land, it was to be part of the land, to feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath your feet, and to honor the unseen forces that guided it all. Their arrival was not marked by a single event or a great conquest. Instead, it was a gradual process, one that happened over generations. Families settled in new places, tribes expanded their territories, and over time, the Celtic way of life became woven into the fabric of Ireland. But as much as the Celts shaped Ireland, Ireland shaped them. The landscape, with its rugged beauty and ever-changing skies, left its mark on their hearts, and their stories began to reflect the spirit of the land they had come to love. The mixing of cultures wasn't just about practical survival. It was something much deeper, something that touched the soul of Ireland itself. The old ways were respected and blended with the new. The ancient monuments like Newgrange, already old when the Celts arrived, became part of their mythology, too. The Celts may have brought new gods and new stories, but they never forgot the power of the land they now shared. They honored the ancient sites, seeing them as places where the worlds of the living and the dead, of the human and the divine, met. The stories of this time are filled with echoes of both the old and the new. The gods of the Celts took on forms that fit the Irish landscape, their personalities shaped by the hills and rivers that surrounded them. The warriors of legend, fierce and proud, were also shaped by this land. They became more than just fighters, they were protectors of a place that felt alive with magic, with history, with meaning. The Celts believed that the veil between this world and the next was thin, especially in Ireland, where the mist could blur the line between the seen and the unseen. They didn't fear this, instead, they welcomed it. Life and death, joy and sorrow, were all part of the same circle, and they lived with a sense of connection to both the past and the future, to the ancestors who had come before and the children who would come after. This connection to the past, this respect for what had come before, was something the Celts brought with them but found already living in Ireland. The older peoples of the island had their own ways of honoring the dead, their own traditions of remembering. When the Celts arrived, these two streams of memory flowed together, becoming one. As the Celts spread across Ireland, their influence grew, but it was always balanced by the weight of the land's ancient history. Their language, their art, their stories became the stories of Ireland, but they never erased what had come before. Instead, they built upon it, layer upon layer, generation after generation. The result was something entirely unique, a culture that was both Celtic and Irish, a blend of old and new, of magic and reality, of history and myth. The arrival of the Celts wasn't the end of the story, it was just the beginning. It set the stage for all that would come after, the heroes and battles, the poetry and songs, the struggles and triumphs that would define Ireland for centuries to come. Their legacy is not just in the ancient texts or the old monuments, it is in the very soul of the land, in the way the wind moves through the trees, and the way the mist rises over the hills at dawn. This blending of cultures, this mixing of old and new, is what makes Ireland what it is today, a place where history and myth are one and the same, where the past is always present, and where the land itself holds the memory of all who have walked upon it. The Celts may have come from far away, but when they arrived in Ireland, they found more than just a new home. They found a place where their stories could live forever, where the land would remember them, and where they, in turn, would become part of the land's eternal story. There is a magic that clings to the land of Ireland, a sense of something ancient, something sacred that has endured through the ages. Walk across its fields, breathe in the misty air, and it feels as though the land itself is whispering stories from long ago. Nowhere is this more powerful than at Ireland's sacred sites. These places are not just landmarks, they are the heart of Ireland's soul, places where myth and reality blur, where the past lives on in the stones and the earth. Tara, the Hill of Kings, stands as one of the most revered places in Ireland. This windswept hill in County Meath, unassuming at first glance, carries with it the weight of millennia. For centuries, Tara was the seat of the High Kings of Ireland, but its significance runs far deeper than political power. It was here, beneath the open skies, that kings would be crowned, bound to the land in a sacred ritual that was more than just ceremony. The Leaf Fail, or Stone of Destiny, would cry out when touched by the rightful king, a sound that echoed not just through the air, but through time itself. But Tara was more than just a place of kings. It was said to be the center of the world, the place where the heavens touched the earth, where the gods and humans were closest. Here, the Tuatha Dé Danann were believed to gather, their presence still felt in the soft rustle of the grass, and the ancient winds that sweep across the hill. Tara is a place where time seems to stand still, where the veil between this world and the other is so thin you can almost reach out and touch the past. It's not just a hill, it's a living memory, a place where Ireland's heart still beats. And then there is Newgrange, older than the pyramids of Egypt, older even than Stonehenge. This ancient passage tomb, nestled in the Boyne Valley, holds within it a secret that has captivated and mystified for thousands of years. Built with astounding precision, Newgrange is aligned with the winter solstice, when the rising sun pierces through its narrow passage and floods the inner chamber with light. For a few precious moments, the dark tomb is illuminated, as if the very soul of the sun has come to visit. To stand inside Newgrange is to feel the weight of ages pressing down upon you, to sense the lives of those who came before, who built this place with their hands and their hearts. The stones are covered with swirling, spiraling carvings, symbols whose meaning has been lost to time but whose beauty still speaks to the soul. It is a place of death, but also of rebirth, a reminder that life is a cycle, that the darkness of winter is always followed by the light. Newgrange is not just a monument, it is a bridge between the past and the future, a place where the dead are honored and remembered, and where the light always returns. The Hill of Uisneach, another sacred site, is said to be the center of Ireland, the place where the 5 ancient provinces of the island meet. But Uisneach is more than just a geographical point. It is the spiritual heart of the land, the place where the fire of Bealtaine was first lit, a flame that would spread across Ireland, connecting the people in a ritual of renewal and protection. The fires of Uisneach were more than just flames, they were a symbol of life, of community, of the bond between the people and the land. It was at Uisneach that the goddess Eriu, the very spirit of Ireland, is said to be buried. Her name, Éire, is the name that Ireland itself carries, a reminder that the land and the people are one and the same. To stand on the hill of Uisneach is to stand in the presence of the goddess, to feel the pulse of the earth beneath your feet, to know that you are standing at the center of something much larger than yourself. It is a place of power, of connection, of belonging. Each of these sites, Tara, Newgrange, Uisneach, holds within it a story, a sense of the sacred that transcends time. They are places where myth and history collide, where the stones themselves seem to remember the footsteps of the ancients, where the air is thick with the presence of those who came before. These are not just places to visit, they are places to feel, to listen, to let the whispers of the past wash over you. In these places, the past is not something distant or forgotten. It is alive, breathing, present. The land remembers, and if you listen closely, you can hear its stories. In the whispers of the wind, in the rustling of the trees, there is a presence that lingers, ancient and powerful, like the very heartbeat of the earth. It is the spirit of Danu, the mother of the gods, whose influence is woven into every corner of Irish myth and landscape. She is more than a figure of legend, she is the land itself, the rivers, the mountains, the fertile soil. Danu is the life force that pulses beneath the surface, the gentle yet fierce matriarch of the Tuatha Dé Danann, a name that bears her legacy, the people of Danu. To speak of Danu is to speak of creation, of origins, of the very beginning of things. She is the one from whom all flows, the source of life, the wellspring of magic. In her, the people of Ireland found their connection to the earth, to the seasons, to the cycles of birth and death. Her children, the Tuatha Dé Danann, were said to have descended from the heavens, but their strength, their wisdom, their magic, it all flowed from Danu. Danu's presence is felt most strongly in the land's rivers, which the people believed were her veins, carrying her life force through the hills and valleys of Ireland. The river Danube, though far from Ireland, is thought to bear her name, a reminder that her reach was vast, that her spirit extended beyond the island's shores. But it is in Ireland, where her children walked, that her presence is most deeply felt. The River Boyne, winding its way through the ancient heart of the land, carries with it the stories of the past, the tales of gods and heroes, all tied to Danu's eternal influence. Danu was not a goddess who ruled from afar. She was present in the everyday lives of the people, in the rain that fell to nourish the crops, in the soil that provided for them, in the animals that roamed the forests. She was a protector, a nurturer, but also a force to be reckoned with. For Danu was not just the soft touch of spring, she was the fierce storms of winter, the wild, untamed energy of nature itself. In her, the people saw both the beauty and the danger of the natural world, and they revered her for both. Her children, the Tuatha Dé Danann, were a reflection of her power. They were beings of immense strength and magic, but their connection to the land, to Danu, was what made them truly extraordinary. They were not just gods, they were part of the earth, tied to its rhythms, its seasons, its cycles. And in turn, Danu was part of them. She was their guide, their protector, their source of wisdom and power. The Tuatha Dé Danann stories are filled with battles and triumphs, with love and loss, but always, in the background, there is Danu, watching, guiding, nurturing. When they arrived in Ireland, it was said that they came from the sky, descending in a great mist, bringing with them knowledge, magic, and a deep reverence for the land. This reverence came from Danu, who taught them that the earth was not something to be conquered or controlled, but something to be honored and respected. The land was alive, and it was through Danu that they could communicate with it, understand its needs, and draw strength from it. Danu's influence extended far beyond her role as the mother of the gods. She was the embodiment of the earth itself, the spirit that connected all living things. In her, the people of Ireland found a sense of belonging, a connection to something larger than themselves. She was the reminder that life was a gift, that the earth was sacred, and that everything was connected. Through Danu, the people saw themselves as part of the natural world, not separate from it, and this shaped their understanding of life, death, and everything in between. The festivals held in her honor, the rituals performed to invoke her blessing, all spoke to the deep respect and love the people had for Danu. They knew that without her, there would be no harvest, no fertility, no life. And so they honored her with offerings, with prayers, with songs that carried her name through the generations. But Danu was more than just a nurturing mother. She was also a warrior, a protector of her children. When the Tuatha Dé Danann went into battle, they did so with her strength flowing through them. They were fearless, knowing that their mother, the earth itself, was with them. And though the Tuatha Dé Danann were eventually defeated by the Milesians and retreated to the otherworld, their connection to Danu never wavered. She remained their mother, their protector, even in the hidden places beneath the earth. To this day, Danu's presence is felt in the land. She is the life that springs forth after the long, cold winter, the strength that lies in the ancient stones of the hills. She is the quiet power that hums beneath the surface of things, the deep-rooted wisdom that has guided the people of Ireland for centuries. Her name may not always be spoken aloud, but her spirit lives on in every breath of wind, and every rush of the river, and every blade of grass. Danu is more than just a figure from myth. She is the mother of the gods, yes, but she is also the mother of the land, the heart of Ireland itself. Through her, the people of Ireland learned to see the world not just as a place to live, but as a living, breathing entity, filled with magic, with beauty, with life. Her story is not one of grand battles or epic journeys, it is the quiet, steady presence of the earth, the enduring strength of the land, the eternal connection between the people and the world around them. Danu's legacy is one of love, of protection, of deep, abiding respect for the natural world. She is the heartbeat of Ireland, the spirit that moves through the land, through the stories, through the hearts of the people. And though centuries have passed, and the world has changed, her presence remains as strong and as powerful as ever. In the heart of Ireland's ancient myths, there stands a figure unlike any other, Dagda, the good god. He is not just a god of power, but of warmth and laughter, a being of immense strength and boundless wisdom. His name alone carries with it a sense of comfort, as though the earth itself smiles when it is spoken. Dagda, with his mighty club, his cauldron that never empties, and his harp that controls the seasons, is the protector, the father, the healer. His presence is one that fills the land, not with fear, but with hope and abundance. Dagda's power was legendary, but what made him beloved was not just his strength, it was his heart. He was a god of fertility, ensuring that the land was always rich with crops, that the people never went hungry. His cauldron, the cauldron of plenty, was a symbol of this generosity. No matter how many came to feast, no matter how much was taken, the cauldron would never run dry. It was a promise, a constant reminder that with Dagda, there was always enough, that life, in all its fullness, was to be shared. But Dagda was not just a provider of food, he was a provider of life itself. His connection to the earth, to the cycles of nature, made him the source of fertility, of growth, of renewal. The farmers who worked the land, the mothers who bore children, all looked to Dagda for his blessing. He was the force that made the crops grow tall, that filled the rivers with fish, that ensured the herds would flourish. In every sprout that broke through the soil, in every newborn calf, in every full belly, there was Dagda, watching over them with a knowing smile. Dagda's magic was as vast as the sky, and as old as the earth. He was a master of spells, of enchantments, and his wisdom ran deeper than the oldest trees in Ireland. Yet, despite his incredible power, he was not distant or cold. He was not the kind of god who sat high above, removed from the lives of the people. No, Dagda walked among them. He laughed with them, feasted with them, shared in their joys and sorrows. He was a god who understood the world, not just in its grandest moments, but in the small, everyday miracles of life. There is a story of Dagda and his great harp, Uathan, which could control the very seasons. This harp was no ordinary instrument. Its strings were woven with the essence of nature itself, and when Dagda played, the world listened. In the cold grip of winter, he could strum a melody that called forth the warmth of spring. With a few notes, the flowers would bloom, the trees would bud, and life would return to the land. When he played, summer's heat could melt away into the gentle coolness of autumn, the leaves turning golden and red as the music filled the air. Dagda's harp was not just an instrument, it was the heartbeat of the seasons, the rhythm of the earth itself, and through it, Dagda kept the world in balance. Yet, even with all his magic, there was a humble simplicity to Dagda that made him beloved by the people. He was not a god of unreachable perfection. In the stories, he is often described as large, even a bit clumsy, with a belly full from too many feasts, his tunic sometimes too short to cover his vast form. But this was part of his charm. Dagda was not a figure of distant majesty, he was approachable, familiar, someone who understood the pleasures of life, the warmth of a fire, the taste of good food, the joy of company. He was a god who lived as the people did, who cared for their needs and understood their desires. Dagda's great club, one of his most powerful possessions, was a weapon of both destruction and healing. With one end, he could strike down his enemies with a single blow, but with the other, he could bring the dead back to life. This was the duality of Dagda. He was both a warrior and a healer, a protector and a nurturer. His power was immense, but it was always tempered with kindness, with a sense of responsibility. He did not wield his strength recklessly. He used it to defend, to restore, to keep the balance of the world intact. There is a story of Dagda during the wars between the Tuatha Dé Danann and their enemies, the Fomorians. The battle raged, and the Tuatha Dé Danann faced terrible odds. But Dagda, even in the midst of war, showed the depth of his character. In the heat of the conflict, he was sent to negotiate with the Fomorians. They, knowing his reputation, tried to humiliate him, offering him a meal so large it was meant to overwhelm even his great appetite. But Dagda, undeterred, ate every last bite, smiling all the while, showing not just his strength, but his ability to turn even the cruelest of taunts into a moment of triumph. He returned to his people not just full, but with the knowledge needed to secure their victory. In this, Dagda shows that power is not just about force, but about wisdom, resilience, and the ability to endure. He was a god who faced challenges head-on, who knew that life was not always easy, but who met those challenges with a heart full of hope and determination. He did not shy away from the hard times, but embraced them, knowing that even in the darkest moments, there was always a way forward. Dagda was more than just a god of fertility, magic, and wisdom. He was the embodiment of life itself, in all its messy, beautiful, unpredictable glory. He was the laughter that broke through sorrow, the strength that carried you through the hardest days, the warmth of the sun after a long, cold night. In every feast, in every harvest, in every moment of joy and celebration, there was Dagda, reminding the people that life, for all its challenges, was something to be cherished. His legacy lives on, not just in the stories told around fires on cold winter nights, but in the very land of Ireland, in the fields, the rivers, the hills. Dagda's spirit is in the earth, in the abundance of nature, in the love that binds people together. He is the good God, not because of his power, but because of his heart, the heart that beat in time with the world, that cared for the people, that made sure the land would always provide, that life would always endure. In the heart of Irish myth, there is one name that shines brighter than most, Luff, the many-talented. His legend echoes through time, not just because of his power, but because of the boundless brilliance he brought to everything he touched. Luff wasn't just a god, he was the embodiment of skill itself. In his hands, even the simplest tool became extraordinary, and through his mind, even the most difficult problem could be solved. From arts to war, crafts to wisdom, Luff was the master of them all, a god whose talents knew no bounds. The story of Luff begins like many great tales, with a sense of destiny. Born to a mortal mother and a divine father, Luff was not just a figure of strength, but one of remarkable potential. His heritage connected him to both the mortal world and the divine, giving him an insight that few could possess. From a young age, Luff displayed abilities that set him apart. He wasn't content to excel at just one thing. No, Luff wanted to master it all. Whether it was blacksmithing or storytelling, healing or warfare, Luff did everything with a precision and grace that left others in awe. It was this extraordinary versatility that led Luff to the gates of Tara, the seat of the Tuatha Dé Danann, the gods and rulers of Ireland. When he arrived at the gate, he requested entry, but the gatekeeper was skeptical. The Tuatha Dé Danann had warriors, musicians, craftsmen, and healers. What could Luff offer that they didn't already have? Luff, undeterred, listed his skills. He was a warrior, a poet, a blacksmith, a harpist, a healer, and more. The gatekeeper, still unsure, asked if Luff could perform all these roles better than those already within. Luff smiled and simply replied, "Let me in, and you shall see." Once inside, Luff quickly proved his worth. He wasn't just a jack of all trades, he was a master of them. Every craft he touched, every skill he practiced, was done with such finesse and mastery that the Tuatha Dé Danann knew they had found someone special. He became known as Samaldanac, the many-talented, a name that captured the essence of his greatness. But it wasn't just Luff's talents that set him apart, it was his heart. He was fiercely protective of his people, ready to defend them with all his might. When the Tuatha Dé Danann were threatened by the oppressive rule of the Fomorians, a fearsome race of giants and monsters, Luff stepped forward as their champion. The Fomorians had brought suffering to the land, crushing the spirits of the Tuatha Dé Danann and demanding unbearable tributes. In the face of such tyranny, it was Luff who led the Tuatha Dé Danann into battle, a battle that would be remembered for generations, the Battle of Mag Tuired. This was no ordinary conflict. It was a clash of gods, of magic, of sheer will. On one side stood the Fomorians, led by their brutal king, Balor of the Evil Eye, whose gaze could kill anything it touched. On the other side stood the Tuatha Dé Danann, with Luff at their head, their hope resting in his hands. The day of the battle dawned heavy with anticipation. The air was thick with tension, and the ground trembled beneath the feet of warriors. As the armies gathered, Luff stood before his people, his eyes burning with resolve. This was not just a fight for victory, it was a fight for survival, for freedom, for the very soul of the land. Balor, towering and terrible, entered the battlefield with his deadly eye covered, knowing that once revealed, it could destroy all in its path. But Luff, ever the strategist, knew that Balor's greatest strength could also be his greatest weakness. As the battle raged, the earth shook with the clash of swords and the cries of warriors. Luff moved through the battlefield like a force of nature, his spear striking with unerring accuracy, his mind calculating every move, every possibility. When the moment came, Luff saw his chance. With precision and speed, he hurled his spear directly at Balor's eye. The spear flew through the air, cutting through the chaos of battle, and struck true. Balor's eye burst from its socket, and with it, the power of the Fomorians crumbled. The tide of the battle turned, and the Tuatha Dé Danann, under Luff's leadership, claimed victory. The Fomorian threat was shattered, and the land was free once more. But the battle did not define Luff, it was only one chapter in his remarkable story. After the victory at Mag Tuired, Luff continued to shape the destiny of the Tuatha Dé Danann and the people of Ireland. His wisdom and skills were sought after not just in war, but in the building of society. He taught the people the importance of balance, of honoring both the arts and the crafts, of recognizing that strength lay not just in muscle, but in the mind and spirit as well. Luff's love for creativity was as great as his love for battle. He was a god who understood that the soul of a people is found in their songs, in their stories, in the beauty of their creations. He inspired poets to write verses that would echo through the ages, encouraged craftsmen to forge weapons and tools that would stand the test of time, and taught healers to use their knowledge for the good of all. In every act of creation, and every skill honed to perfection, there was a trace of Luff's influence. And so, Luff, the many-talented, became a symbol not just of mastery, but of the pursuit of excellence. He was a god who believed that each person, each craft, each skill had its place in the world, and that true greatness lay in the ability to weave them together into something beautiful and lasting. His legacy is not just in the stories of his great deeds, but in the skills and talents that continue to shape the world today. In the quiet moments, when a craftsman's hands shape wood into something fine, when a poet's words find their rhythm, when a healer's touch brings relief, there is Luff. His spirit lives on in every act of creation, in every pursuit of skill, in the determination to be better, to do better, to give everything to the art of living. In the shrouded mist of ancient Ireland, where the wind howls across the hills and the night is thick with shadows, there existed a presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. This was Morrigan, the goddess of war and fate. Her name alone was enough to send a chill down the spine of even the bravest warrior. She was not just a deity of battle, she was the embodiment of its dark and inevitable nature, a force that shaped the destinies of those who dared to take up arms. Morrigan was a goddess who commanded respect, not just for her formidable power, but for the profound understanding she held of the human condition. She was a figure of immense complexity, her very essence woven into the fabric of battle and death. Her role was not merely to inspire fear, but to bring a sense of order to the chaos of war, to balance the scales of fate with her mighty presence. When the clash of swords echoed across the battlefield and the cries of combatants filled the air, Morrigan was there, a dark shadow amidst the chaos. Her form was often seen as a crow or raven, symbols of death and the afterlife. The sight of her, perched on a hill or flying over the battlefield, was both a harbinger of doom and a reminder of the inevitable fate that awaited all warriors. To see her was to know that one's end was near, that the final judgment was about to be met. But Morrigan's role was not just to preside over death. She was also a weaver of fate, an orchestrator of destiny. In the stories, she appeared to warriors not just as a portent of their end, but as a guide, a force that shaped their final moments and ensured that their actions had lasting consequences. Her presence on the battlefield could shift the tides of war, altering the course of events with a mere glance or a whispered spell. She was a deity who understood that fate was not a simple, unchanging path, but a series of twists and turns, influenced by every action and choice. One of the most striking tales involving Morrigan is her encounter with the hero Cú Chulainn. Cú Chulainn was a warrior of unmatched skill and bravery, yet even he could not escape the gaze of Morrigan. During a pivotal battle, Morrigan appeared to him in various forms, sometimes as an old woman, sometimes as a beautiful maiden, and sometimes as a queen. She offered him aid and then, when he rejected her, she foretold his doom. Her warnings were not just threats, but reflections of the inescapable fate that awaited him. Morrigan's presence in Cú Chulainn's life was a reminder that no matter how great a warrior might be, he was still subject to the whims of fate and the judgment of the gods. Morrigan's influence extended beyond the battlefield. She was also a goddess of prophecy and magic, using her powers to foresee the outcomes of conflicts and to sway the hearts of those involved. Her ability to see into the future made her a feared and respected figure. Leaders and warriors sought her counsel, hoping to gain insights into the nature of their struggles and the paths they should take. Yet, her prophecies were often cryptic, hinting at the unpredictable nature of fate and the complex interplay of choices and consequences. Her role in shaping the fates of warriors was not always straightforward. Morrigan was known to both aid and hinder, to offer support and then withdraw it at the most critical moments. Her actions were driven by a deep understanding of the balance between life and death, victory and defeat. She was a reminder that in war, as in life, there is no certainty, only a series of choices that lead to different outcomes. Her interventions on the battlefield were not just about destruction, but about ensuring that the natural order was maintained, that the balance between life and death was respected. Morrigan's presence was both feared and revered. To invoke her name was to call upon a force that was as unpredictable as it was powerful. She was a deity who embodied the harsh realities of war, the inevitability of death, and the complex web of fate that governs all lives. Her role was to remind warriors of their mortality, to challenge them to live with honor and courage, knowing that their ultimate fate was not in their hands alone. In the quiet moments before battle, when the air is thick with anticipation and the soldiers await their fate, Morrigan's spirit can still be felt. Her legend lives on in the tales of those who faced her gaze and in the memories of the battles she influenced. Her legacy is a reminder of the profound connection between war and fate, between the actions of warriors and the outcomes they produce. Morrigan's influence is a powerful testament to the ways in which the divine can shape human destiny. She was not just a figure of terror but a profound force of nature, guiding the course of events with a sense of purpose and balance. Her presence in the myths and stories of Ireland is a reminder of the complex interplay between human actions and the divine forces that govern the world, and of the enduring truth that in the end, fate is a force to be reckoned with, shaped by both the choices we make and the greater cosmic order. In the midst of Ireland's ancient hills, where the light dances upon the earth and the whispers of the past linger in the wind, there shines a figure of warmth and grace, Brigid, the goddess of healing and poetry. Her name evokes a sense of comfort, as if the very essence of creativity and care flows from her being. Brigid is not just a goddess, she is a beacon of hope, a bridge between the divine and mortal worlds, where her gifts of fire, healing, and creativity illuminate the path for all who seek her presence. Brigid's fire is more than just a physical flame, it is a symbol of her vibrant spirit, a light that warms and guides. This fire is both literal and metaphorical, representing the passion and energy that fuels her healing and artistic talents. To invoke Brigid's fire is to invite a force that not only lights the way but also kindles the inner flame of creativity and inspiration within the hearts of those who call upon her. In the realm of healing, Brigid's touch is gentle yet powerful. She is the goddess who mends broken bodies and soothes troubled souls. Her healing is not confined to mere physical ailments but extends to emotional wounds and spiritual scars. When illness struck or pain overwhelmed, the people would seek her out, trusting in her ability to restore balance and bring comfort. Her healing is described with a profound sense of compassion, as though her very presence could make the world a kinder place. In her hands, remedies are crafted with care, and her prayers and incantations are like a balm to those in need. Brigid's influence extends to the world of poetry and creativity, where her presence is felt in every verse, every song, every piece of art that captures the soul of Ireland. She is the muse who inspires poets to find beauty in the ordinary, who encourages artists to see the divine in their craft. Her gift transforms simple words into profound expressions and ordinary moments into something magical. The arts, under her guidance, become not just a means of expression but a way to connect with the divine, to touch something greater than oneself. Brigid's creative fire fuels the imagination, turning the mundane into the extraordinary, making every artistic endeavor a reflection of the divine. The goddess Brigid is also seen as a nurturing mother, one who bridges the gap between the mortal and the divine. She is a figure who embodies the tenderness of maternal care, offering protection and guidance to those who seek it. Her role is not just to provide but to nurture, to help individuals grow and find their own path. This aspect of Brigid is deeply comforting, a reminder that no matter how difficult life becomes, there is always a divine presence that watches over and cares. In the ancient celebrations dedicated to Brigid, her presence is honored with great reverence. Imbolc, a festival in her name, marks the beginning of spring, a time of renewal and hope. It is a celebration of the light that Brigid brings, a time when the days start to grow longer and the promise of new beginnings is in the air. During this festival, the people would light candles and fires, symbolizing the goddess's eternal flame and the warmth she brings to their lives. The rituals and songs sung in her honor are filled with a deep sense of gratitude and connection, acknowledging the ways in which her gifts have touched their lives. Brigid's stories are filled with moments of profound emotion and inspiration. In one tale, she is said to have transformed a river into a healing spring with just a touch, turning it into a source of life and rejuvenation for all who came to drink. In another, she is celebrated for her role in fostering peace and unity, using her gifts to bring people together and heal rifts within communities. These stories capture the essence of Brigid as a deity of compassion and creativity, a force that uplifts and transforms. The legacy of Brigid is not just in the stories told about her, but in the way her spirit continues to inspire and heal. Her influence can be seen in the ongoing traditions of crafting and storytelling, in the rituals that honor the cycles of nature, and in the creative expressions that resonate with her divine presence. Brigid's impact is felt in the warmth of a comforting embrace, in the beauty of a well-crafted poem, and in the light of a candle that symbolizes hope and renewal. Brigid, with her divine gifts of fire, healing, and creativity, remains a beloved figure whose presence touches every corner of life. Her spirit is a reminder of the power of nurturing and the importance of connecting with the divine through art and healing. Her legacy continues to shine brightly, guiding those who seek her light, offering comfort and inspiration, and bridging the worlds of the mortal and the divine with a gentle and enduring grace. On the edge of the known world, where the horizon meets the endless expanse of the ocean, there reigns a figure of immense power and mystery, Manannán mac Lir, the Lord of the Sea. His presence is as vast and enigmatic as the ocean itself, a deity whose influence stretches far beyond the waves. With each ebb and flow, Manannán watches over the waters, guiding souls to their final resting place and ensuring that the journey between life and the afterlife is safe and serene. Manannán mac Lir is not merely a god of the sea, he is its very essence. His connection to the ocean is profound, embodying both its beauty and its peril. His control over the waves and storms reflects his ability to shape the destiny of those who venture upon the waters. Sailors and travelers who braved the sea in ancient times would offer their prayers to Manannán, seeking his favor and protection. They knew that the ocean was as unpredictable as it was powerful, and they turned to the sea god for guidance through the tempests and trials they faced. With his regal presence, Manannán is often depicted with a cloak of mist, symbolizing his dominion over the shifting sea mists and fogs. His chariot, made of the waves themselves, carries him across the surface of the sea, moving effortlessly through the shifting tides. This chariot is not bound by the physical laws of the world, it flows like water, a reminder of his boundless power and his role as a guide between worlds. In the stories of old, Manannán is a master of the otherworld, the mystical realm that exists beyond the mortal plane. He is the keeper of the gateways to this land, ensuring that those who pass through are guided with care. The otherworld is not a place of darkness or despair, but a realm of peace and eternal rest. Manannán's role is to escort souls from the world of the living to this serene domain, easing their passage and comforting them as they move from one existence to another. The sea god's influence is felt most acutely in moments of transition. When a soul leaves this world, it is Manannán who ensures that their journey is smooth. The waves that lap gently against the shore or crash violently against the rocks are seen as his way of guiding the departed. He is there to offer solace and guidance, ensuring that the path is clear and the voyage is peaceful. His presence is both reassuring and powerful, a constant reminder that even in the face of death, there is a guiding hand that leads one towards a tranquil and welcoming end. In life, Manannán mac Lir is also a figure of protection and wisdom. His knowledge of the sea and its mysteries made him a revered figure among those who depended on the waters for their livelihood. Fishermen and seafarers would seek his blessings before setting out, asking for safe passage and favorable winds. In their hearts, they knew that the sea was not just a vast expanse to be conquered, but a living entity to be respected and honored. Manannán's ability to shape the fate of those who sailed upon his waters is a testament to his profound connection with the elements. Stories tell of how he could conjure storms or calm the sea with a mere thought, demonstrating his mastery over the natural world. This control was not arbitrary, it was a reflection of his deep understanding of the balance between life and death, chaos and order. The sea god's role extends beyond mere guidance. He is a symbol of the eternal cycle of life and death, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is a path to peace. His presence offers comfort to those who grieve, knowing that their loved ones are guided by a benevolent force towards a place of rest and renewal. The waves that wash upon the shore are a gentle reminder of his enduring watchfulness and care. Manannán mac Lir's influence is woven into the very fabric of the sea. His stories are not just tales of adventure, but reflections of the deep connections between humanity and the natural world. He is a deity who embodies the power and mystery of the ocean, a figure whose presence is both awe-inspiring and comforting. In the silence of the sea, in the whisper of the waves, one can feel his enduring presence, guiding, protecting, and ensuring that the journey between worlds is one of peace and serenity. The air was thick with tension as the sun began to set over the rolling green hills of ancient Ireland. The sky turned a fiery orange, reflecting the chaos that was about to unfold. It was here, in this dramatic twilight, that the first battle of Mag Tuaired was about to change the fate of the land forever. This battle was not just a clash of armies, but a defining moment in the mythic history of Ireland, where the Tuatha Dé Danann, a race of divine beings, would face off against the Fir Bolg, the current rulers of the land. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their ethereal grace and otherworldly powers, had arrived in Ireland like a storm sweeping across the sky. Their coming was foretold by prophecies and accompanied by signs that heralded a new era. With their arrival, the air seemed charged with magic, as if the very land itself was bracing for the seismic shifts to come. The Tuatha Dé Danann were not just warriors, they were gods and goddesses, imbued with incredible powers and bearing mystical weapons that glowed with ancient light. On the other side, the Fir Bolg, who had ruled Ireland for centuries, stood their ground with fierce determination. They were a people who had fought hard to establish their dominion and were not about to relinquish it without a struggle. The Fir Bolg were not simply an opposing force, they were a symbol of an old order facing the dawn of a new age. Their courage and resolve were as strong as the very earth they stood upon. As the two sides prepared for battle, the tension in the air was palpable. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their enchanted weapons and strategic brilliance, were a sight to behold. Among them was the great Dagda, wielding his magic club that could summon life or death with a single blow, and Luff, with his many talents and prowess in combat. They were not just fighting for territory, but for a place in the future of Ireland. Their arrival signaled a shift, a new beginning that would redefine the land's destiny. The battle was fierce and intense, with the clang of swords and the roar of warriors filling the air. The Tuatha Dé Danann fought with a divine precision, their movements graceful and deadly. Their weapons, imbued with magic, cut through the ranks of the Fir Bolg with an almost otherworldly ease. Yet, the Fir Bolg were not easily overpowered. They fought with everything they had, their hearts burning with a fierce, desperate pride. They were defending not just their land, but their very way of life. As the battle raged, the ground shook with the force of the conflict. The air was filled with the sounds of clashing metal and the cries of the fallen. The sky, once a vibrant orange, now darkened with the smoke and dust of the struggle. It was a battle that seemed to go on forever, each side locked in a desperate struggle for dominance. Amidst the chaos, the turning point of the battle came with a dramatic shift. The Tuatha Dé Danann, using their superior strategy and magical prowess, began to gain the upper hand. Their leader, Luff, emerged as a central figure in the battle, his presence a beacon of hope and power. With his magical spear and unwavering determination, he led his people with a clarity and strength that began to turn the tide. His actions were both awe-inspiring and devastating, a blend of divine intervention and tactical genius. The Fir Bolg fought valiantly, but the power of the Tuatha Dé Danann proved overwhelming. As the battle drew to its conclusion, the once vibrant fields of Mag Tuired were now a somber testament to the fierce struggle that had taken place. The Tuatha Dé Danann emerged victorious, but their victory was not without a heavy cost. The ground was littered with the fallen, and the air was thick with the sorrow of those who had fought and died. The First Battle of Mag Tuired was more than just a conflict, it was a pivotal moment in the mythic history of Ireland. It marked the end of one era and the beginning of another, a shift from the old ways to the new. The Tuatha Dé Danann, now firmly established, would shape the land with their divine influence. Their victory was not just a triumph of arms, but a profound change in the very fabric of Ireland's destiny. As the sun set and the last echoes of the battle faded, the land itself seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The sky, once filled with the chaos of combat, began to clear, revealing a new dawn. The Tuatha Dé Danann stood as the new guardians of Ireland, their presence a promise of a new age filled with magic, power, and transformation. The First Battle of Mag Tuired was a testament to the enduring power of legend and the eternal struggle between old and new, a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. The air crackled with an ominous energy as the Second Battle of Mag Tuired approached, a clash of titans that would echo through the ages. The sky, darkened by brooding clouds, seemed to reflect the turmoil and tension of the impending conflict. This was not merely a battle, it was a struggle for the very soul of Ireland, pitting the divine Tuatha Dé Danann against the monstrous Fomorians. The fate of the land hung in the balance, and every heartbeat felt like a drumbeat of destiny. At the heart of this epic confrontation was Lugh, the many-talented god whose brilliance shone like a beacon amid the encroaching darkness. His courage and skill were legendary, and his determination to protect his people burned brightly. Lugh, with his spear that struck true and his strategic genius, was more than just a warrior. He was a symbol of hope, a light in the midst of encroaching shadows. Opposing him was Balor, the Fomorian king whose very presence seemed to cast a pall over the battlefield. Balor was no ordinary foe. His eye, which could bring death and devastation with a mere glance, made him a figure of immense fear. The stories told of his power were enough to chill the bones of even the bravest warriors. The Fomorians, a race of dark and monstrous beings, had long sought to dominate the land, and their king's malevolent gaze was a symbol of their sinister intentions. As the battle began, the ground trembled beneath the clash of armies. The Tuatha Dé Danann, fierce and determined, fought valiantly against the Fomorians, whose dark power and monstrous forms seemed almost otherworldly. The air was filled with the roar of combat, the clang of weapons, and the cries of the wounded. Each side fought with a desperation born of knowing that the outcome would shape the future of Ireland. In the thick of the chaos, Lugh's presence was like a storm breaking through a dark sky. His spear danced with a deadly grace, cutting through the ranks of the Fomorians with unerring accuracy. His leadership inspired his warriors, turning the tide of battle with every strike and command. Yet, amid this fierce struggle, the shadow of Balor loomed large, his gaze striking terror into the hearts of those who faced him. The battle reached its climax as the conflict between Lugh and Balor took center stage. The air seemed to crackle with a tension that made every movement, every breath, feel monumental. Balor's eye, a single orb of dark, destructive power, was a weapon of unimaginable force. It was said that a mere glance could lay waste to entire armies, turning them to stone or sending them to their deaths. His monstrous strength and terrifying abilities made him a formidable adversary, a living embodiment of the darkness that the Tuatha Dé Danann sought to overcome. In this dire moment, Lugh's resolve and bravery were put to the ultimate test. He knew that the fate of his people depended on overcoming this monstrous foe. As Balor advanced, his eye blazing with malevolent fire, Lugh prepared for the confrontation that would decide the outcome of the battle. The clash between them was more than a physical struggle. It was a battle of light against darkness, of hope against despair. With a battle cry that echoed across the field, Lugh charged at Balor, his spear poised for the decisive blow. The air seemed to hold its breath as the two forces collided. The confrontation was fierce and brutal, a testament to the immense power and will of both combatants. Balor's eye, blazing with destructive energy, sought to crush Lugh's hope, but the god's courage and skill were unwavering. In a moment of intense drama and sheer willpower, Lugh hurled his spear with precision and force. The weapon, imbued with divine power, struck Balor's eye with a force that shattered the dark aura surrounding it. The Fomorian king let out a terrible cry as the eye that had caused so much suffering was destroyed. In that instant, the tide of battle turned. The Fomorians, deprived of their king's devastating power, faltered and began to retreat. The victory came at a heavy cost. The battlefield was strewn with the fallen, and the air was heavy with the sorrow of loss and the relief of triumph. The Tuatha Dé Danann, though victorious, mourned their losses and honored the bravery of those who had fought and died. The clash between Lugh and Balor was not just a fight for survival, but a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of protecting the land and its people. As the smoke cleared and the sun began to rise over the battlefield, the land of Ireland was forever changed. The victory over the Fomorians marked a new chapter in the mythic history of the land, a chapter defined by the courage of the Tuatha Dé Danann and the enduring spirit of its people. The Second Battle of Mag Tuired was not just a story of conflict, but a testament to the enduring power of hope, bravery, and the struggle against the forces of darkness. The sky was a canvas of turmoil as the battle for the soul of Ireland reached its most intense point. Darkness clashed with light, hope wrestled with despair, and the land trembled under the weight of the struggle. The monstrous Fomorians, with their hideous forms and dark ambitions, loomed like a nightmarish storm over the battlefield. Their malevolence seemed to seep into the very earth, casting a long shadow over the land they sought to dominate. The Tuatha Dé Danann, a race of divine beings with hearts full of courage and eyes fixed on the horizon of hope, stood as the last line of defense against the Fomorian menace. They were not merely warriors, but symbols of a brighter future, fighting to preserve the beauty and purity of their beloved Ireland. The clash between these two forces was more than a battle, it was a monumental struggle for the very essence of existence. The Fomorians, led by their king Balor, embodied chaos and destruction. Their monstrous appearance and terrifying powers made them seem like a dark storm that could not be quelled. Balor's single eye, capable of wreaking unimaginable havoc, was a weapon of dread that struck fear into the hearts of even the bravest souls. The Fomorians were relentless, their dark energies threatening to overwhelm the light of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Yet, in the face of such overwhelming odds, the Tuatha Dé Danann remained unyielding. Their leaders, like Luff with his radiant spear and Dagdo with his mighty club, led their people with a fierce determination. The battle was not just a fight for survival but a fight for the very soul of their homeland. Each strike, each spell cast, was infused with a desperate hope that this struggle would end in a future where light would once again prevail. The turning point came with a fierce and dramatic confrontation. The Tuatha Dé Danann, driven by a combination of desperation and hope, launched a coordinated assault against the Fomorian forces. Their strategy was not merely to combat the Fomorians head-on, but to exploit the weaknesses in their dark empire. With every clash of weapons and every spell unleashed, they fought not just to win, but to drive back the darkness that threatened to engulf their world. Luff, whose presence on the battlefield was like a beacon of hope, played a central role in the battle's climax. His spear, a symbol of divine power and precision, cut through the ranks of the Fomorians with an unstoppable force. In a moment of profound bravery and strategic brilliance, Luff faced Balor, the source of the Fomorians' darkest power. The confrontation between these two figures was more than a physical clash, it was a battle of wills, a struggle that would determine the future of the land. As Luff and Balor faced each other, the atmosphere was charged with an electric tension. The sky seemed to hold its breath as the two combatants prepared for their fateful clash. Balor's eye, blazing with destructive energy, was a formidable weapon, but Luff's determination and skill were equally formidable. With a final, powerful thrust, Luff hurled his spear at Balor, and the weapon struck true. The moment was marked by a blinding flash of light, as if the heavens themselves were bearing witness to the battle's turning point. Balor's defeat was a profound moment of relief and triumph. As the Fomorian king fell, the dark cloud that had hung over the battlefield began to lift. The Fomorian forces, deprived of their leader and their dark power, began to crumble. The monstrous army that had seemed so invincible was now in retreat, their strength fading in the wake of their king's fall. The Tuatha Dé Danann pressed their advantage, driving the Fomorians from the land with a renewed fervor. The aftermath of the battle was a mixture of sorrow and joy. The land, though scarred by the conflict, was liberated from the shadow of the Fomorians. The victory was a testament to the strength and unity of the Tuatha Dé Danann, a sign that hope and light could prevail even in the darkest of times. As the smoke cleared and the echoes of battle faded, the land began to heal, and the people of Ireland looked towards a future where their dreams of peace and prosperity could once again flourish. The defeat of the Fomorians was not just a military victory but a profound moment of emotional and spiritual significance. It marked the end of an era of darkness and the beginning of a new chapter in the mythic history of Ireland. The triumph of the Tuatha Dé Danann was a powerful reminder of the enduring strength of hope and the unbreakable spirit of those who fight for what is just and true. The air was thick with sorrow and resignation as the era of the Tuatha Dé Danann drew to a close. The once vibrant beings who had shaped Ireland's ancient world, with their magic and wisdom, now faced an unyielding truth. The coming of the Milesians, the latest wave of invaders, marked the end of an age and the beginning of a new chapter in the land's history. The Milesians arrived with the promise of a new beginning. They were a people of strength and determination, driven by their own dreams and desires. Their arrival brought a sense of inevitability, a changing of the guard that could not be halted. The land, once ruled by the Tuatha Dé Danann, was now caught between the fading echoes of their glory and the emergence of a new era. The Tuatha Dé Danann, who had once been seen as the supreme beings of Ireland, now faced the painful reality of their diminishing power. Their once mighty presence seemed to wane, like a star fading in the dawn. The beauty and magic that had once defined their reign were now overshadowed by the relentless advance of the Milesians. Each day brought a deeper realization that their time was passing, and with it came a profound sense of loss. As the Milesians grew stronger and claimed their place on the land, the Tuatha Dé Danann gathered in sorrowful unity. Their leaders, including the great Luff and the wise Dagda, knew that their time in the mortal world was drawing to a close. The once great figures, who had shaped the destiny of Ireland with their strength and magic, now faced the bittersweet reality of their departure. They had to decide where their new place would be in a world that no longer had room for them. In a poignant and emotional farewell, the Tuatha Dé Danann prepared to leave their beloved land. The departure was not just a physical relocation, but a profound emotional farewell to the world they had cherished. The land that had once been their home, where they had wielded their power and lived out their legends, would now be ruled by the Milesians. The Tuatha Dé Danann would retreat from the world of men, taking their magic and their stories with them. The descent into the otherworld, a place of mystery and legend, was both an ending and a transformation. The otherworld was a realm of wonder and shadow, a place where the Tuatha Dé Danann would live on in a different form. As they made their way to this new realm, the air was filled with a mixture of melancholy and hope. They were leaving behind the world they knew, but they were not vanishing. Instead, they were entering a realm where their stories and their magic would continue to influence the world in subtle, hidden ways. The farewell was marked by a deep and profound silence, as if the very earth held its breath. The Tuatha Dé Danann, their forms shimmering with the last vestiges of their power, began their journey to the otherworld. The transition was both a surrender and a rebirth, a shift from the visible to the invisible. As they crossed into their new domain, their presence seemed to become a part of the very fabric of the land, their influence lingering in the myths and legends that would shape future generations. For the Milesians, the arrival of the Tuatha Dé Danann in the otherworld was a poignant reminder of the changes that had swept over the land. The once mighty deities who had ruled and protected the land were now a part of its hidden depths, their stories woven into the very essence of Ireland's heritage. The Milesians, now the new rulers of the land, could feel the echoes of the past as they established their own place in history. The departure of the Tuatha Dé Danann was not just a loss but a transformation. Their story did not end with their leaving, it continued to live on in the hearts and minds of those who remembered them. The legends of their deeds, their battles, and their magic became a part of Ireland's cultural tapestry, a testament to their enduring impact on the land they had once ruled. As the Tuatha Dé Danann settled into their new existence in the otherworld, their presence remained a silent and powerful influence on the world they left behind. Their stories, though now part of the realm of myth and memory, continued to shape the world of the living. The land they had once inhabited, now in the hands of the Milesians, carried the echoes of their legacy, a reminder of a time when magic and wonder were woven into the very fabric of Ireland's history. In the heart of Ireland's ancient past, when legends walked as boldly as men and the land hummed with the whispers of old magic, a hero emerged who would capture the spirit and soul of the nation. Cú Chulainn, known as the Hound of Ulster, was born not with the quiet promise of ordinary life, but with a roar that echoed through the ages. The story of Cú Chulainn's birth is steeped in wonder. His mother, Dagda, was visited by the great god Luff in a dream, and from that divine encounter, Cú Chulainn was destined for greatness. Even as a child, his fate seemed carved into the very bones of the earth. His name, meaning Hound of Cuailnge, came from an event that would set the tone for his entire life, a tale of bravery and sacrifice. As a young boy, Cú Chulainn's strength and courage were apparent. The legend recounts how, at the tender age of 7, he single-handedly defended Ulster against the armies of Connacht. His prowess was so great that he stood alone, wielding his weapons with a skill that belied his years. The tale of how he faced a whole army while still just a child filled the hearts of those who heard it with a mix of awe and reverence. Cú Chulainn's life was a series of epic battles and heroic feats, each more astonishing than the last. His most famous battles were fought during the Cattle Raid of Cooley, a saga that would cement his place as one of Ireland's greatest heroes. This was not merely a war over cattle, but a clash of honor and destiny. Cú Chulainn faced warriors and chieftains, each of whom had heard of his fierce reputation and feared his name. One of the most stirring moments of his legend came when he fought alone against the armies of Connacht. With unparalleled bravery, he held back the invading forces, his valor so fierce and relentless that it seemed he was fighting for more than just the land, he was fighting for the very heart of Ulster. His enemies would later speak of his fighting spirit with a mix of dread and respect, knowing that to face Cú Chulainn was to confront the very essence of heroism. Cú Chulainn's battles were not just physical but deeply tied to the mystical elements of his world. He had a warrior's prowess and a hero's sense of honor, but his strength was also connected to ancient magic and fate. His ability to invoke a battle frenzy, known as the Riostrad, was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. In this state, he became a whirlwind of destruction, a living force of nature that could turn the tide of any battle. Yet, his life was not just marked by glory and heroics, it was also shaped by deep personal struggles and sacrifices. Cú Chulainn's path was paved with tragedy as much as it was with triumph. The hero's journey was often marked by loneliness and the heavy burden of his own destiny. The very qualities that made him a legendary figure also set him apart from those he loved and the life he could have led. In his final battles, Cú Chulainn faced his end with the same unyielding courage that defined his life. His death was as dramatic as his life had been, a poignant end to a story that had captivated the hearts of many. Even as he lay dying, he refused to surrender, fighting until his last breath. The sight of him standing, even in death, tied to a stone by his own entrails, facing his enemies with a defiant gaze, was a powerful image of undying bravery. Cú Chulainn's legend did not fade with his death. It became a beacon of inspiration, a symbol of the heroic ideal in Irish mythology. His story, filled with valor and heartache, was passed down through generations, a reminder of what it means to live with honor and to face one's destiny with unflinching courage. The echoes of his battles, his sacrifices, and his unyielding spirit continue to resonate, ensuring that the Hound of Ulster remains a timeless figure in the tapestry of Ireland's mythic past. The skies darkened with the gathering clouds of conflict as the armies of Connacht prepared for one of the most legendary battles in Ireland's history. At the heart of this epic clash was a tale of bravery and defiance, with Cú Chulainn standing as the towering figure of resistance. The story of the Cattle Raid of Cooley is more than just an ancient war tale, it is a story of heroism, sacrifice, and the fierce spirit of a hero who would not yield. The conflict began with a quarrel over cattle, but it soon escalated into a monumental struggle that would shake the very foundations of Ulster. The Kingdom of Connacht, driven by a desire for a prized brown bull of Cooley, sought to claim it from Ulster. The dispute over this seemingly simple prize sparked a war that would be remembered for centuries. What started as a battle over cattle became a legendary struggle for honor, fate, and the soul of Ulster itself. As the armies of Connacht poured into Ulster, the land seemed to hold its breath. The warriors of Ulster, though brave, were plagued by a curse that left them incapacitated in their time of need. The kingdom's defenses were weakened, and hope seemed to falter. It was in this desperate moment that Cú Chulainn, the young hero of unmatched prowess, rose to the occasion. Cú Chulainn was just a boy when he first showed his strength, but now, as a seasoned warrior, he faced the daunting task of defending his land. His courage and skills were unmatched, and he knew that the fate of Ulster rested on his shoulders. With a heart full of determination and a spirit of unyielding resolve, he stepped forward to meet the invading forces. The epic tale of Cú Chulainn during the Cattle Raid of Cooley is marked by his incredible feats of valor. He took to the battlefield with a fierce and unrelenting spirit, holding back the armies of Connacht single-handedly. Each battle he fought was a testament to his extraordinary skill and bravery. His legendary feats, such as defending Ulster's borders and engaging in single combat with Connacht's greatest warriors, became the stuff of myth. One of the most heart-wrenching moments of the raid came when Cú Chulainn faced the challenge of fighting off the invaders while suffering from the curse that plagued Ulster. His strength was tested to its limits, and his body was pushed to the brink of exhaustion. Yet, even in his weakened state, Cú Chulainn's resolve never wavered. His fierce determination and unwavering courage inspired those around him and struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. As the battle raged on, Cú Chulainn's heroics became the focal point of the struggle. His name was on everyone's lips, and his deeds were celebrated in song and story. Each victory he achieved was a testament to his indomitable spirit and the profound sense of duty he felt toward his people. The sight of him standing against the tide of invaders, fighting with every ounce of his strength, became a symbol of hope and resistance. Despite his extraordinary efforts, the struggle was not without cost. The weight of the battle bore heavily on Cú Chulainn, and the sacrifices he made were deeply felt. The raid was not just a test of physical strength, but a trial of the heart and soul. Cú Chulainn's unwavering commitment to protecting his homeland, even in the face of overwhelming odds, spoke to the depths of his character and the profound sense of honor that drove him. The epic of the Cattle Raid of Cooley stands as a testament to the power of a single hero's courage and the enduring spirit of a people defending their land. Cú Chulainn's story, marked by his heroic deeds and the trials he faced, became a beacon of inspiration. His struggle was not merely a battle for cattle, but a fight for the very essence of Ulster's identity and pride. In the end, the tale of Cú Chulainn and the Cattle Raid of Cooley is more than just a story of war. It is a reflection of the timeless themes of bravery, sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of a hero who would not surrender. The legend of Cú Chulainn, as he faced the armies of Connacht and fought for the honor of his people, remains a powerful reminder of the enduring legacy of heroism and the fierce heart of Ireland. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where the forests whispered secrets and the mountains stood as silent witnesses to the passage of time, there lived a warrior whose name would echo through the ages. Finn McCool, the legendary leader of the Fianna, emerged as a figure of extraordinary courage and wisdom. His tales of bravery, adventure, and leadership stir the soul and bring tears to the eyes of those who hear them. Finn was not born into greatness, but rose to it through sheer valor and heart. As a young man, he faced challenges and dangers that would have daunted the bravest of souls. Yet, it was his destiny to lead the Fianna, a band of elite warriors sworn to protect the land and uphold justice. Finn's story began with a promise, a whisper of greatness that would lead him on a path of heroic deeds. One of the most touching aspects of Finn's life was his bond with his loyal warriors, the Fianna. This band of warriors was not just a group of fighters, but a family bound together by honor and loyalty. Under Finn's leadership, they became legendary for their bravery and their commitment to protecting the innocent. The camaraderie among the Fianna, and their unwavering faith in Finn, painted a portrait of loyalty and sacrifice that resonates deeply with those who hear their tales. The adventures of Finn and his Fianna were filled with moments of awe-inspiring bravery. From facing mythical beasts to embarking on quests that tested their courage and skill, Finn's leadership was marked by his ability to inspire and unite his warriors. One of the most stirring stories is that of Finn's encounter with the enchanted salmon of knowledge. In this tale, Finn, guided by fate and his own unyielding spirit, gains the wisdom of ages. This knowledge would shape not just his destiny but the destiny of the entire Fianna. Finn's adventures were not without personal trials. His heart was often burdened with the weight of leadership and the sacrifices it demanded. Yet, despite the struggles he faced, Finn remained a beacon of strength and hope. His love for his people and his dedication to their well-being were constants in his life, even as he battled mythical creatures and confronted treacherous foes. The personal cost of his heroism, the moments of doubt and despair, only served to deepen the respect and admiration felt for him. The tales of Finn and the Fianna are also marked by a profound sense of justice. The Fianna were not mere warriors, they were champions of the people, fighting against tyranny and oppression. Their battles were not just for glory, but for the greater good. Finn's leadership in these fights, his ability to rally his men and lead them with honor, underscored the deep sense of duty that guided him throughout his life. One of the most heart-touching aspects of Finn's story is his relationship with his family. His love for his wife, his devotion to his children, and his sense of responsibility as a leader created a complex and deeply human portrait of a hero. Finn's family was not just a backdrop to his adventures, but an integral part of his life and his struggles. The sacrifices he made for them and the love he held for them added a layer of depth to his character that resonates with those who hear his story. Finn McCool's legacy is more than just the tales of his heroic deeds. It is the enduring spirit of a leader who embodied the values of bravery, loyalty, and honor. His life, marked by incredible adventures and personal sacrifices, serves as a reminder of the power of heroism and the profound impact one individual can have on the world. The stories of Finn and the Fianna are a tribute to the strength of the human spirit and the timeless ideals of courage and justice. In the shadowy corridors of ancient Ireland, where the mists whisper tales of love and sorrow, there exists a story that tugs at the heartstrings like no other. The tragic love story of Diarmuid and Grain is a poignant saga of passion and heartache, a tale that has echoed through the ages, leaving behind a trail of tears and longing. Diarmuid was a warrior of remarkable skill and undeniable charm, known for his bravery and his unrivaled prowess on the battlefield. He was the kind of hero who inspired songs and legends, admired by all who knew him. Grain, on the other hand, was a princess of unparalleled beauty and grace, her presence like a beacon of light in the dimly lit world of ancient Ireland. The love that blossomed between them was as fateful as it was forbidden, a love that would be tested by destiny itself. The story begins with a promise and a curse. Grain, though promised to the aging and powerful warrior Finn McCool, found herself unable to ignore the magnetic pull she felt toward Diarmuid. The bond between them was instant and intense, a love that defied the constraints of duty and tradition. For Grain, Diarmuid was not just a lover but the embodiment of everything her heart longed for, a love that was as pure as it was dangerous. The journey of their love was fraught with peril. Grain's feelings for Diarmuid were a source of turmoil not only for her but for those around her. The engagement to Finn McCool was a binding contract that could not be easily broken. Yet, the passion between Grain and Diarmuid was undeniable, and they made a fateful choice to pursue their love despite the consequences. This decision set off a chain of events that would alter their lives forever. Their love was marked by moments of intense beauty and profound sorrow. As they fled from the reach of the vengeful Finn and his warriors, their journey became one of survival and heartache. Diarmuid and Grain traveled through rugged landscapes and faced countless dangers, their love for each other serving as both their shield and their burden. The world around them seemed to close in, each step of their flight bringing them closer to an inevitable tragedy. The heart-wrenching element of their story is the way their love, so strong and pure, could not escape the cruel hand of fate. Despite their best efforts to build a life together, they were haunted by the consequences of their choices. The tension between the love they shared and the world's relentless demands created a chasm that neither could bridge. Their story is a stark reminder of how even the most beautiful love can be marred by the harsh realities of life. The final chapters of their story are filled with sorrow and loss. Diarmuid and Grain's attempts to find peace and happiness were constantly thwarted by the forces that sought to tear them apart. The love they had for each other, while deep and enduring, was not enough to shield them from the pain and suffering that came their way. Their fate was sealed by forces beyond their control, and the ending of their tale is marked by tragedy and heartbreak. The legacy of Diarmuid and Grain is a testament to the power of love and the inevitability of fate. Their story, with all its passion, drama, and sorrow, speaks to the timeless themes of love and loss. It captures the essence of human emotion in its rawest form, a love that is both beautiful and tragic, a reminder of the enduring power of the heart. Their tale has been passed down through generations, a poignant reminder of the joys and sorrows of love. It stands as a testament to the ways in which love can shape our lives, both in its beauty and its pain. The story of Diarmuid and Grain remains a powerful and moving example of how the heart's desires can sometimes lead us to the most profound and heart-wrenching experiences. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where legends intertwine with the mists of time, there lies a story that stirs the soul with its beauty and melancholy. It is the tale of Oisin, the son of Finn McCool, and his fateful voyage to Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth. This story, filled with magic and longing, paints a poignant picture of love and loss. Oisin was a warrior of unmatched skill and a poet whose verses could capture the very essence of the world. His life was one of adventure and wonder, yet his story took a turn towards the extraordinary when he encountered a vision that would alter his destiny forever. The beautiful and otherworldly Niamh of the golden hair appeared to him, her presence a shimmering beacon of enchantment. She spoke of a land beyond the reach of ordinary time, a place where age and sorrow could not follow. Tir na Nog was a land unlike any other. It was a place where the sun always shone, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of eternal spring. The fields were lush and green, the waters crystal clear, and the people forever young. It was a paradise untouched by the struggles of the mortal world, a place where joy and peace reigned supreme. When Niamh invited Oisin to join her in this enchanted land, the promise of such an existence was irresistible. Oisin's departure from Ireland was marked by a mixture of hope and heartache. He bade farewell to his beloved land, his people, and his family, including his father Finn, knowing that he would never return. The journey to Tir na Nog was both a physical and emotional odyssey, as Oisin left behind the world he knew for a paradise that seemed to promise everything he had ever dreamed of. Upon arriving in Tir na Nog, Oisin was greeted with the warmth and beauty of the land. His time there was filled with joy and wonder, as he lived a life of happiness and contentment with Niamh. The years in Tir na Nog felt like moments, as the passage of time in this magical realm was unlike that of the mortal world. Oisin's life was idyllic, marked by endless celebration and love, yet there was an undercurrent of longing, a quiet ache for the world he had left behind. As the centuries passed, the reality of time began to weigh on Oisin. Despite the eternal youth and beauty of Tir na Nog, he began to feel a profound sense of nostalgia for his homeland. The stories of his people, the songs of his youth, and the memory of his father's voice haunted his dreams. His heart ached for the land he had left, and he wondered if he would ever return. Eventually, the pull of his past grew too strong to ignore. Oisin decided to journey back to Ireland, driven by a deep sense of longing and a desire to reconnect with the world he had once known. Niamh, though reluctant to let him go, understood the depth of his yearning and granted him permission to return. She gave him a magical horse, a gift that would allow him to travel back to his homeland without losing his way. As Oisin arrived in Ireland, he was struck by the changes that had occurred in his absence. The land he once knew had transformed, and the people he loved had long since passed. The world was now a place of stark contrasts, where the beauty of Tir na Nog seemed like a distant dream compared to the harsh reality of the Ireland he returned to. The most heart-wrenching moment of Oisin's return came when he attempted to ride the magical horse once more. As he mounted the steed, the enchantment that had preserved his youth was broken. The years that had passed in the mortal world now weighed heavily upon him, and Oisin aged instantly, his once strong and vibrant body becoming frail and weak. Oisin's journey back to Ireland, his encounters with the changes that had taken place, and the painful realization that he could never return to the paradise of Tir na Nog left him with a profound sense of loss. His story is a touching reminder of the cost of eternal youth and the bittersweet nature of longing for a past that can never be reclaimed. The tale of Oisin and Tir na Nog is one of love, enchantment, and the relentless passage of time. It captures the essence of human desires and the sacrifices made in the pursuit of happiness. Oisin's story remains a powerful and moving testament to the complexities of love, the pain of separation, and the eternal quest for a place where one's heart truly belongs. In the heart of ancient Ireland, a story unfolds that will chill your soul and stir your deepest emotions. It is the tale of the children of Lyre, a haunting saga of love, betrayal, and transformation that echoes through the ages with a sorrowful melody. Lyre, a king of great renown, had a family that shone brightly with promise and joy. His children, Fianna, Aegon, Conn, and Fiacra, were beloved by all. Their laughter and love filled the halls of their home, making it a place of warmth and happiness. Yet, beneath this serene surface lay a dark cloud, for the children were soon to be ensnared in a tragedy that would forever change their lives. Their mother, the beloved wife of Lyre, passed away, leaving him heartbroken and his children in need of a new mother's care. In his grief, Lyre remarried, hoping to find solace and a new beginning. But the new queen, driven by envy and jealousy, harbored a deep-seated malice against the children. Her heart was cold and unyielding, consumed by a spite that would manifest in the darkest way. One fateful day, the wicked queen put her cruel plan into action. She conjured a spell that transformed Lyre's beloved children into swans. With a wave of her hand, the joyous laughter of the children was silenced, replaced by the mournful cries of swans. Their human forms were gone, and they were doomed to wander the waters of Ireland for many years. The transformation was not just a physical change, but a deep, spiritual wound. They could no longer walk the earth as they once did, but instead, they were condemned to glide silently over the lakes and rivers, their voices lost to the winds of time. Each splash of their wings echoed their sorrow, each ripple in the water a testament to their lost humanity. Their plight was made even more tragic by the curse's nature. For 900 years, the children were to remain as swans, with the first 300 years spent on the lakes and rivers of Ireland, the next 300 years on the sea, and the final 300 years on the winds of Scotland and back to Ireland. During these long centuries, they would encounter the changing face of Ireland, witnessing its transformation from a land of ancient magic to a world dominated by new beliefs and civilizations. Despite their transformation, their love for each other remained unbroken. They supported each other through the endless days and nights, finding solace in their shared experience. Their bond was a reminder of the enduring strength of family, even in the face of the most cruel and unrelenting fates. They drifted together on the waves, their hearts entwined, finding comfort in their unity amidst the harshness of their punishment. Their story takes a poignant turn towards the end of their long curse. As the years drew to a close, their transformation was finally to be lifted. They were to be restored to their human forms, but their return to the world of men was marred by the tragedy of time. The Ireland they returned to was not the Ireland they had known. It was a land of change, a place where their old home was now a distant memory, lost to the ages. As they regained their human forms, the years of their suffering came crashing down upon them. They were no longer the young, vibrant children of Lyre, but old and weary souls, their bodies frail and their spirits exhausted. The sorrow of their long ordeal left them fragile, and their reunion with the world they had once known was bittersweet. The joy of their restoration was overshadowed by the grief of all they had lost. The tale of the children of Lyre is one of deep and enduring sorrow. It speaks to the pain of separation and the longing for a time that can never be reclaimed. It is a story that touches the heart with its themes of love and loss, of family and betrayal. It stands as a haunting reminder of how cruelty can reshape lives and how the bonds of family can endure even the most formidable trials. The story of Lyre's children continues to echo through the ages, a timeless testament to the power of love and the weight of loss. In the shadows of the Irish countryside, where the mist clings to the hills and the moonlight dances on the still waters, there lurks a presence both enchanting and unsettling. This is the world of the puka, shape-shifting spirits whose antics blur the line between the magical and the menacing. The puka is a creature of change and whimsy. It can assume many forms, sometimes a sleek black horse with eyes that gleam like burning coals, other times a shaggy, fearsome goat, or even a mysterious, handsome stranger. This shape-shifting ability makes the puka both fascinating and frightening. The transformation is not just physical but spiritual, reflecting the puka's nature as a being of unpredictable intentions. In its most benign form, the puka might appear as a charming figure, offering a ride to an unsuspecting traveler. The ride starts out smoothly, but as the moon reaches its zenith, the puka reveals its true nature. The gentle trot of the horse turns into a wild, uncontrollable gallop, racing through darkened forests and over treacherous terrain. The rider, clinging desperately to the mane, feels the terror of being swept away into the unknown, only to find themselves unceremoniously dumped in a ditch or a river with no recollection of how they got there. The puka delights in such pranks, finding amusement in the fear and confusion it causes. It feeds on the anxiety and distress of its victims, enjoying the chaos it creates. Yet, there is a strange, almost whimsical element to its behavior. While it may cause discomfort and fear, it does not always mean harm. The puka's tricks are a reminder of the wild, untamed nature of the world, a world where not everything is predictable or safe. But beneath the mischief lies a more sinister aspect of the puka. Its malevolent side is darker, more dangerous. There are tales of the puka leading travelers astray, causing them to become lost in the wilderness, their very lives hanging in the balance. Some legends speak of the puka luring people into traps, where they are left to face their own fears or, worse, never seen again. In these stories, the puka embodies the deepest fears of the human soul, the terror of the unknown, the dread of being lost and alone, and the horror of facing something beyond understanding. Despite its frightening traits, the puka is also a symbol of the unpredictable forces of nature. Just as the seasons change and the weather shifts without warning, the puka embodies the capriciousness of the natural world. It serves as a reminder that not everything in life can be controlled or understood, and that sometimes the most magical experiences come with a touch of danger and uncertainty. There is a deeper layer to the puka story, a sense of tragic beauty and loss. In some tales, the puka is depicted as a spirit bound by a curse or a tragic fate. Its shape-shifting nature, once a gift, has become a prison, trapping it in an endless cycle of transformation and trickery. This aspect of the puka's existence evokes a profound sense of sympathy. Behind the mischief and the terror lies a being longing for freedom, struggling with its own nature and the consequences of its actions. The story of the puka resonates with the timeless themes of transformation and the duality of existence. It speaks to the dual nature of humanity, the ability to be both kind and cruel, gentle and fierce. The puka, with its shifting forms and unpredictable behavior, embodies the complexities of the human spirit and the natural world. Its presence in folklore serves as a powerful reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding and the delicate balance between magic and reality. In the stillness of the night, when the world is shrouded in darkness and silence, a mournful wail pierces the air. It is a sound so haunting, so otherworldly, that it chills the bones and freezes the heart. This is the cry of the banshee, a spectral figure whose lament is a harbinger of death. The banshee's cry is more than a sound, it is a harbinger of doom. Legend tells of her wail echoing through the night, a sound that foretells the death of a loved one. Her appearance is not always the same. She may be seen as a sorrowful woman with flowing hair, clad in a tattered white or gray gown, her face twisted in anguish. In other stories, she appears as an old woman with a ghastly, terrifying visage, her eyes sunken and her mouth stretched in a continuous scream. Regardless of her form, the essence of the banshee is the same. She is the embodiment of sorrow and loss. The banshee's presence is felt rather than seen. Her wail, often described as a piercing, unearthly cry, carries with it an overwhelming sense of dread. Those who hear it understand, instinctively, that a shadow has fallen over their lives. The wail is not merely a warning but a mournful declaration that the end is near, that the veil between this world and the next is about to be lifted. In Irish folklore, the banshee is tied to ancient families, often appearing to herald the death of someone within a particular clan or lineage. She is said to be a spirit who has taken on this role out of sorrow or duty, bound by an ancient tradition of mourning. Her wail is not a random act of terror but a solemn, ritualistic announcement of the inevitable. To hear the banshee's wail is to be touched by a profound sense of loss. It is a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the inevitability of death. Families who hear her cry are often thrown into turmoil, their lives forever altered by the knowledge that someone they love is about to be taken from them. The wail reverberates through the darkness, a grim soundtrack to the final moments of the departed. But the banshee's role is not simply to terrify. There is an underlying sorrow in her cry, a reflection of the grief and mourning she carries. She is often portrayed as a soul who has been burdened with the task of foretelling death, her own existence forever entwined with the cycle of life and loss. In this sense, she is a figure of empathy, her lament a manifestation of the pain and sadness that accompanies death. The banshee's cry also serves as a reminder of the deep connections between the living and the dead. Her wail bridges the gap between the two realms, a spectral presence that acknowledges the unending bond between those who have passed on and those who remain. Her appearance is a moment of profound reflection, a chance for the living to honor the memory of those who are about to leave this world. In the eerie silence that follows her cry, there is a space for mourning, a moment to process the weight of loss and the inevitability of change. The Banshee, with her mournful wail, forces the living to confront their own fears and sorrows, to face the reality of their own mortality and the transient nature of existence. Her presence, though terrifying, is also a poignant reminder of the beauty and sorrow of human experience. The Banshee's cry is not merely a scream of despair, but a complex, emotional tapestry woven with threads of grief, love, and remembrance. In the darkness of the night, her wail echoes with a haunting beauty, a testament to the deep, enduring connections that define our lives and our losses. On dark, moonless nights, when the mist clings to the earth and the wind whispers through the trees, a chilling figure rides through the shadows. The Dullahan, the headless horseman of Irish folklore, is a specter of dread and mystery, a living embodiment of death and the otherworld. The Dullahan rides a powerful black steed, its hooves thundering over the ground in a rhythm that echoes the beat of a funeral drum. Clad in dark, tattered robes, he holds his own head under one arm, its eyes staring out with a cold, unblinking gaze. This severed head is no mere prop, but a living, horrifying visage that seems to survey the world with an icy detachment. The sight of the Dullahan is enough to freeze the blood. His presence is marked by an eerie silence, broken only by the sound of his horse's hooves and the rustling of his cloak. He travels without a word, his purpose clear. He is a harbinger of death, a being whose mission is to escort souls to the afterlife. When the Dullahan appears, his head held high, he is a figure of unrelenting doom. In Irish legend, his appearance is often associated with death itself. Those who catch sight of him are said to be doomed to die soon after, their fate sealed by the grim figure's arrival. He is both an omen and a guide, leading souls from the mortal world to the unknown realms beyond. The Dullahan's connection to the otherworld is profound. His headless form and his eerie, almost ghostly presence place him firmly in the domain of spirits and the supernatural. He rides through the veil that separates the living from the dead, a silent witness to the eternal passage of souls. In his own way, he is a bridge between worlds, guiding those who have passed on to their final resting place. One of the most unsettling aspects of the Dullahan's legend is his method of marking his presence. In some tales, it is said that the Dullahan carries a whip made from a human spine, which he uses to strike those who cross his path. This ghastly weapon is a symbol of his authority over death, a chilling reminder of the ultimate fate that awaits everyone. The whip's cracks are said to bring about sudden death, adding an extra layer of terror to his already fearsome reputation. The Dullahan's presence also holds a deeper meaning. He represents the inescapable nature of death and the inevitability of the journey to the otherworld. His headless form is a stark reminder that death comes to all, regardless of status or wealth. He is a figure of justice, of sorts, enforcing the natural order and ensuring that no soul escapes the fate that is destined for them. Yet, despite the fear he evokes, there is something profoundly tragic about the Dullahan. His eternal ride through the night, his ceaseless duty of guiding souls, speaks to a deep loneliness. He is a solitary figure, bound by his role and unable to escape the grim task assigned to him. His existence is a poignant symbol of the loneliness that can accompany death, a reminder that even in the face of the supernatural, there is a profound sense of isolation. The Dullahan's legend, with its haunting imagery and its connection to death and the otherworld, captures the essence of Irish folklore's relationship with the supernatural. He is not merely a figure of fear, but a complex character who embodies the themes of fate, mortality, and the unending cycle of life and death. His story is a reflection of the deep, enduring mysteries of existence, a spectral reminder of the things that lie beyond the veil of life. In the heart of the Irish countryside, amidst rolling green hills and ancient oak trees, a tiny figure skitters just out of sight. The leprechaun, with his twinkling eyes and mischievous grin, is a master of tricks and a keeper of secrets. This small, magical being has captured the imagination for centuries, embodying a blend of whimsy and mystery that seems to dance just beyond the edge of reality. The leprechaun is often depicted as a small man, no taller than a child, dressed in a coat and hat of green. His clothes are usually shabby, but there's something about them, perhaps the way they sparkle under the sunlight or the way they seem to shift colors, that hints at his magical nature. His face is often marked with a twinkle of mischief and a knowing smile, as if he's perpetually in on a secret joke. But don't let his small size fool you. This little trickster is anything but ordinary. Leprechauns are famous for their cunning and their love of playing tricks on unwary humans. They are as likely to hide your keys as they are to make you laugh, and their playful nature often masks a deeper, more enigmatic essence. Their antics range from harmless pranks to more elaborate deceptions, all designed to entertain and bewilder. Central to the leprechaun's lore is his hidden treasure, a pot of gold that he guards with great care. This treasure, said to be buried at the end of a rainbow, is not just a simple hoard of coins. It represents hope and the promise of untold wealth, a symbol of the elusive dream that many seek but few find. The end of the rainbow, however, is a place that remains forever out of reach, just like the gold itself. This magical pot of gold remains one of the most enduring symbols in Irish folklore, representing both the promise and the impossibility of wealth. Finding a leprechaun's treasure is a task fraught with challenges. Legends say that if you catch a leprechaun, he must grant you 3 wishes in exchange for his release. However, catching one is nearly impossible. Leprechauns are notoriously slippery, vanishing in the blink of an eye, leaving only a hint of their laughter echoing through the air. Their treasure, therefore, becomes a tantalizing dream, a symbol of our desire for magic and fortune. The myths surrounding the leprechaun are rich with stories that reflect the complexities of human nature. On one hand, they are tricksters and thieves, delighting in causing confusion and chaos. On the other hand, they embody a deeper magic, a connection to the ancient past and the natural world. They remind us that not everything is as it seems, and that sometimes, the greatest rewards come from the simplest of pleasures. In Irish culture, the leprechaun holds a special place. He is a figure that captures the imagination and offers a touch of magic to everyday life. His stories are told with a mix of humor and reverence, reflecting the Irish love for storytelling and the ability to find wonder in the ordinary. He represents the spirit of mischief and magic that is woven into the fabric of Irish folklore, reminding us of the enchantment that exists in the world around us. There is a bittersweet quality to the tales of the leprechaun, as they reflect both the charm and the challenge of seeking out something that always seems just beyond our grasp. The leprechaun, with his elusive treasure and his playful tricks, embodies the idea that magic is not always something you can hold in your hand, but something that exists in the moments of wonder and delight. His story is a reminder that the search for magic and the joy of discovery are as valuable as the treasure itself. On the rugged shores of the Irish coast, where the waves crash against ancient rocks and the sea mist mingles with the wind, there exists a tale that whispers through the air. The story of the Selkies, seal people who can transform into humans, is one of enchantment and sorrow, of love that defies the boundaries of worlds and the heartbreaking costs of such forbidden unions. Selkies are beings of both land and sea, starting their lives as seals, their sleek bodies slipping effortlessly through the water. They have a secret: on moonlit nights, they shed their seal skins and step onto the shore as humans, with forms as graceful and alluring as the ocean itself. When they are in their human shape, they are often described as stunningly beautiful, with a haunting quality that captivates anyone who sees them. The magic of the Selkies lies not only in their ability to transform, but also in the profound sadness that shadows their existence. The Selkie story is filled with the tension between their two worlds, land and sea, human and seal. Their lives are marked by a longing that is both mystical and deeply tragic. The tales often revolve around their encounters with humans, usually in a romantic context, and the inevitable heartbreak that follows. In many stories, a human, often a fisherman or a lonely soul, encounters a Selkie on the shore. The Selkie's human form is irresistible, and love can bloom quickly between the two. Yet, this love is tainted by the knowledge that it is fleeting. The Selkie's skin, hidden away in a secret place, is the key to their return to the sea. If a human finds this skin and hides it, they can force the Selkie to stay on land, bound to a life that is not truly theirs. These tales are filled with moments of tender affection, where the Selkie's love for their human partners seems genuine and deep. Yet, there is always an undercurrent of inevitability, a sense that no matter how strong the bond, it is destined to be broken. The Selkies' longing for the sea is a powerful force, one that cannot be easily denied. The moment their sealskin is discovered, or when they can finally return to the ocean, the human world and the life they built together are left behind in a heart-wrenching departure. One of the most poignant stories tells of a Selkie woman who marries a fisherman and bears his children. She hides her sealskin to remain with him, and though she loves her family dearly, there is always a sense of something missing. Her children grow up with the knowledge of their mother's sadness and the tales of the sea that she tells them. The day comes when her sealskin is found, and she must leave her family behind to return to the ocean. Her departure is marked by tears and heartache, and the memory of her love lingers in the hearts of those she leaves behind. These stories echo with a melancholy that resonates deeply. The Selkies are caught between two worlds, never truly belonging to either. Their lives are a testament to the beauty and the pain of loving across the boundaries of their own nature. They live with a profound sense of loss, always remembering the ocean's call even as they experience human joys and sorrows. Their love stories are tinged with a bittersweet quality, a reminder of the fragility of happiness when it defies the natural order. The legend of the Selkie is not just a tale of magical creatures, but also a reflection on the nature of love and loss. It speaks to the universal experience of longing for something that cannot be fully attained, and the heartache that comes when dreams must be sacrificed for reality. The Selkie story is a poignant reminder that love, no matter how beautiful, is often entwined with the inevitable pain of separation. Underneath the veil of everyday life, just beyond the reach of the human eye, exists a world brimming with enchantment and mystery. It is a world inhabited by the Alsi, the fairies of Irish folklore, whose presence lingers like a whisper in the wind. Their realm is hidden from the naked eye, existing parallel to our own, yet profoundly different. These fairies are not the dainty, gentle creatures often depicted in modern tales. Instead, they are enigmatic beings whose influence over human lives is as powerful as it is unpredictable. The Alsi live in a world that exists just out of sight, a shadowy land of hills, mounds, and ancient places where nature thrives in wild, untamed beauty. These places are known as fairy forts or city mounds, and they are considered sacred. To disturb them is to invite misfortune, as the Alsi are believed to be deeply connected to these lands. Their world is said to be both beautiful and treacherous, a place where time and reality can twist and bend in ways that defy understanding. The fairies of Irish folklore are divided into various groups, each with its own distinct characteristics. Some are known for their capricious nature, playing tricks on humans for their own amusement. These trickster fairies might lead travelers astray, causing them to wander in circles until they are utterly lost. Others are more benevolent, offering guidance or assistance, but their help often comes with strings attached. Their actions, whether kind or cruel, are always tinged with an otherworldly quality that reflects their detachment from human concerns. The Alsi are deeply intertwined with the natural world. They are often associated with ancient trees, sacred wells, and stone circles. These natural features are seen as gateways to their hidden world. In some stories, humans who accidentally stumble upon these places are drawn into the fairy realm, where they experience events that seem to stretch time and bend reality. An hour in the fairy world might turn into years in the human world, leading to tales of people returning home to find everything changed and their loved ones long gone. One of the most haunting aspects of the Alsi is their ability to influence human lives in subtle, often unsettling ways. They are said to have the power to enchant, curse, or bless those they come into contact with. It is said that they can cause illness or misfortune if they are displeased, while favor and fortune can be bestowed upon those who show them respect. This duality creates a sense of constant tension in the stories about them, where a single misstep or moment of disrespect can lead to dire consequences. The fairies are also deeply connected to the concept of fate. In many tales, they are portrayed as guardians of destiny, shaping the lives of humans in ways that are beyond their understanding. A fairy might take a liking to a person, granting them a wish or protecting them from harm. Conversely, they might take offense at a slight, leading to a series of unfortunate events that seem to come from nowhere. This capricious nature of the Owl Sea makes them both awe-inspiring and terrifying, as their actions are often unpredictable and their motives inscrutable. The stories of the Owl Sea are not just tales of magic and mischief, they also reflect deep-seated fears and hopes about the unknown. The fairies embody the mysterious forces that lie just beyond the edge of human understanding, the shadows that flit at the edge of our vision, and the whispers that brush against our ears on a quiet night. They are a reminder of the world's hidden depths, of the things we cannot see but can sense in our bones. The Owl Sea, with their hidden world and powerful influence, evoke a sense of wonder and unease. They remind us that there is more to the world than what meets the eye, that behind the familiar lies a realm of magic and mystery. Their presence in folklore serves as a powerful symbol of the unknown, a reminder that the world is full of secrets waiting to be discovered, if only we dare to look beyond the surface. On the rugged coastlines of Ireland, where the land kisses the sea, a hauntingly beautiful legend whispers through the waves. This is the world of the Merrow, the mermaid-like creatures who straddle the divide between the ocean's depths and the human shores. Their story is one of sorrow, longing, and an aching sense of belonging that resonates deeply with the soul. The Merrow are striking in their appearance, embodying both human and aquatic traits. With shimmering tails and the upper bodies of humans, they capture the imagination as beings caught between two worlds. Their scales glitter with the colors of the sea, blending hues of emerald and sapphire that seem to dance with the movement of the water. Yet, beneath their mesmerizing beauty lies a profound sadness, a sense of yearning for a world they cannot fully inhabit. These creatures are not merely figments of folklore but symbolize the tension between the familiar and the unknown. They dwell in the ocean's depths, where they are both feared and revered. Their underwater homes are said to be filled with wonders and treasures, yet they are always seen peering longingly towards the land, as if the call of the shore tugs at their very essence. Legends speak of the Merrow's magical abilities, their voices as sweet and haunting as the melody of the sea. When they sing, their songs weave through the air like a spell, captivating anyone who hears them. Sailors and fishermen have been lured by these enchanting melodies, only to find themselves lost at sea or in peril. The Merrow's songs are said to be both a promise and a warning, a siren's call that beckons with beauty but hides the danger of the ocean's depths. Despite their allure, the Merrow are often depicted as melancholic figures. They are trapped between two worlds, never fully belonging to either. Their longing for the land where they can walk freely is matched by their fear of losing the sea that is their true home. This duality creates a sense of profound isolation. They yearn for the warmth of the sun and the touch of the earth, yet they cannot forsake the ocean's cold embrace. There are tales of the Merrow interacting with humans, forming relationships that are as enchanting as they are tragic. Some legends tell of Merrow who fall in love with mortal men, only to face heartbreak when the limitations of their worlds become insurmountable. In these stories, the Merrow's love is both a blessing and a curse, offering glimpses of a magical world while also revealing the pain of their separation. The Merrow's connection to the sea is not merely physical but deeply emotional. They are tied to the ocean's moods and tides, reflecting the ever-changing nature of their environment. When the sea is calm, the Merrow are serene, but when storms brew and the waves crash violently, their emotions mirror the tumultuous waters. Their existence is a reminder of the ocean's power and its capacity to shape both the external world and the inner lives of those who dwell within it. In their underwater abodes, the Merrow are said to possess magical items that symbolize their link to the sea. One such artifact is the Cú Chulainn, a magical red cap that allows them to return to their oceanic home. Without it, they are bound to the land, a reminder of their transient nature. The stories of these magical items evoke a sense of longing and loss, highlighting the bittersweet nature of their existence. As the waves roll and the wind whispers, the legend of the Merrow endures, carrying with it the echo of a world caught between sea and land. Their tale is one of exquisite beauty and poignant sorrow, a reflection of the struggles of being forever caught between two realms. Their songs and stories resonate with the universal feeling of yearning for something unattainable, making them a symbol of both enchantment and heartache. In the quiet moments of twilight, when the horizon blurs between the sea and sky, the Merrow's presence can almost be felt, a reminder of the magic that lies just beyond the edge of the known world. Their story invites us to reflect on our own desires and the boundaries we face, touching our hearts with its timeless, haunting melody. On a stormy night, beneath the darkened skies of ancient Ulster, a fierce and sorrowful tale was born. This is the story of Macha, a goddess whose curse would leave a mark of deep suffering on the men of Ulster, a mark that would be felt in their hearts and their bones. Macha was a goddess of immense power and pride, embodying the very essence of the land and its fertility. Her beauty and strength were known far and wide, and her name carried both reverence and fear. But beneath her divine exterior lay a heart that had been wronged, and it was this wounded heart that would lead to one of the most poignant and vengeful curses in Irish mythology. The tale begins with a betrayal so cruel that it ignited a rage within Macha. Once, in a time when the gods still walked among mortals, Macha was forced to endure a humiliation that cut her to her very core. Her suffering came not from a divine foe but from the arrogance and disregard of mortal men. They mocked her, belittled her, and scorned her while she was pregnant. The disdain was not merely an insult, it was a wound that would never heal. The men of Ulster had once admired her, but their respect faded into mockery when they believed her to be powerless. Little did they know that their scorn would ignite a curse of unfathomable consequences. Macha, feeling both betrayal and an overwhelming sense of injustice, vowed to make them pay for their cruelty. Her heartache was so profound that it turned into a vengeful storm, a curse that would cripple the very strength of Ulster's warriors. In the dead of night, with the wind howling and the sky crackling with divine fury, Macha summoned the full force of her wrath. Her curse was not merely a punishment, it was a profound and deep-seated retribution. She decreed that the men of Ulster would be struck with an unshakable weakness during their time of greatest need. The strength they once boasted about would turn to nothing more than a cruel memory, leaving them helpless and broken when it mattered most. The curse took shape in the form of a physical affliction. When Ulster's warriors were called to arms, to defend their land or to embark on battles of great importance, they would be stricken by a debilitating weakness. It was as though their very vitality was drained from them, leaving them powerless and bedridden. This was not just a physical curse, it was a soul-crushing blow to their pride and honor. They could only watch in despair as their enemies advanced unchecked, their own strength a distant echo of what it once was. Macha's curse was not simply a matter of weakness, it was a profound tragedy that seeped into every corner of the men's lives. Imagine being a warrior, once mighty and fearless, now rendered feeble and helpless. Picture the agony of seeing your comrades fall while you lie immobilized, unable to rise to their aid. The men of Ulster suffered this indignity, their battle cries turned into anguished pleas for strength that would not come. The curse of Macha was felt most acutely during the Cattle Raid of Cooley, one of the most famous sagas of Ulster. As the armies of Connacht advanced to seize a prized brown bull, the men of Ulster were struck down by Macha's curse. In their moment of greatest need, when their bravery and skill were paramount, they were instead left frail and incapacitated. Their greatest heroes, like the legendary Cú Chulainn, struggled under the weight of their curse, fighting valiantly yet feeling the sting of betrayal and weakness. The tragedy of Macha's curse is not just in its impact on battle, it is in the deep emotional toll it took on the men and their society. The curse symbolized not only physical weakness but also the profound loss of honor and pride. For a warrior, being stripped of their strength was akin to losing their very soul. The men of Ulster faced a constant battle with their own sense of worth and duty, feeling the crushing weight of Macha's vengeance in every step they took. This curse, born from betrayal and pain, became a legend that haunted the men of Ulster long after Macha's anger had subsided. It was a story of divine retribution that reflected the raw and unfiltered emotions of loss, shame, and helplessness. Macha's curse left an indelible mark on Ulster, a reminder of the fragility of power and the devastating consequences of wronging those who hold the divine within them. In the end, the tale of Macha is not just about a goddess's revenge, it is about the deeper themes of respect, honor, and the heartache that can arise from being wronged. It is a story that touches the core of human emotion, reminding us of the delicate balance between power and vulnerability, and the profound consequences that can follow when that balance is shattered. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is draped in the soft blanket of twilight, a young boy named Cú Chulainn begins his journey. His story, woven with threads of legend and raw ambition, starts far from the glory of his future deeds. Instead, it begins with a dream to become a hero like no other, and a path paved with trials that will shape his destiny. Cú Chulainn was born into a world filled with promise and expectation, yet his early life was marked by a fierce, unyielding spirit. Even as a child, he displayed signs of greatness, strength, and courage that seemed almost otherworldly. But greatness does not come easily, and for Cú Chulainn, the path to becoming a legendary hero was fraught with challenges and rigorous training. His journey took a pivotal turn when he was sent to train under Scathac, the renowned warrior woman who lived in the remote and mystical land of Skye. Scathac was no ordinary teacher. She was a warrior of unparalleled skill, a master of combat and strategy, and her training was feared and respected by all who sought her tutelage. To be chosen as her pupil was both a tremendous honor and a daunting challenge. Imagine the young Cú Chulainn arriving at Scathac's fortress, a place where the winds howled through the mountains and the very air seemed to hum with the energy of fierce battles fought long ago. The fortress, with its towering walls and rugged beauty, was a realm where legends were forged, and here, Cú Chulainn was to face trials that would test his spirit and skill. Scathac saw in Cú Chulainn not just potential but a fire that needed to be shaped and honed. She demanded not only physical prowess but mental resilience. Under her stern gaze, Cú Chulainn embarked on a grueling regimen of training. His days were filled with relentless practice, sword fights, archery, and mastering the ancient techniques of combat that had been passed down through generations. Every strike of his sword, every arrow shot, was an echo of the discipline and rigor demanded by his formidable teacher. But Scathac's lessons were not solely about physical strength. She imparted wisdom on strategy, the art of war, and the importance of honor. These lessons were etched into Cú Chulainn's mind with the same intensity as his physical training. Scathac knew that to become a great hero, he needed not only the skill to fight but also the wisdom to lead and the honor to guide his actions. The training was grueling and often seemed unending, pushing Cú Chulainn to the brink of his endurance. There were moments of doubt, where the weight of his ambition seemed too heavy to bear. Yet, through every hardship, his resolve only grew stronger. He was driven by a vision of greatness, a vision that burned in his heart and fueled his determination to overcome every obstacle. One of the most defining moments of Cú Chulainn's early life came during a challenge set by Scathac. He was to face a series of opponents, each more skilled and formidable than the last. These were not mere exercises, but tests of his very essence. Each battle was a struggle against not only the opponent, but also against his own fears and limitations. With each victory, Cú Chulainn proved his worth, not just to Scathac but to himself. Scathac's training was not just about molding a warrior, but about preparing a hero who could face the trials of destiny. She taught him the sacred oaths of warriors, the deep codes of honor that would guide him through the complexities of his future battles. Her teachings were as much about shaping his character as they were about perfecting his combat skills. Through the sweat, blood, and tears of his training, Cú Chulainn emerged not just as a warrior but as a symbol of resilience and hope. The boy who had come to Scathac's fortress was transformed into a young hero whose strength and courage were matched only by his unwavering commitment to justice and honor. The early years of Cú Chulainn's life, marked by his rigorous training under Scathac, were the crucible in which his legend was forged. They were a testament to the sacrifices made in pursuit of greatness and the unyielding spirit that drives one to achieve the extraordinary. His story is a powerful reminder of the journey from potential to legend, shaped by the trials and the guiding hands of those who mold heroes from dreams. The cold winds swept across the battlefield, carrying with them the chilling echoes of a hero's final stand. Cú Chulainn, Ireland's mightiest warrior, lay amidst the chaos of war, a figure of both immense strength and profound sorrow. His tale, once vibrant with the glory of countless victories, was now nearing its tragic end. Even as he fought, there was an air of inevitability about the scene. The sky darkened with the approach of night, casting a pall over the land. Cú Chulainn's enemies, knowing they faced a hero of unmatched skill, had long sought to defeat him. The clash of swords and the cries of warriors filled the air, each moment a reminder of the fierce determination and unyielding spirit that defined Cú Chulainn. Despite the overwhelming odds, Cú Chulainn fought with a valor that seemed almost otherworldly. His reputation as a fearsome warrior was not just in his prowess with a sword but in his unbreakable resolve. Yet, even the greatest heroes cannot escape their fate, and the winds of destiny were closing in on him. The night before the final battle, Cú Chulainn had a vision. The ancient Druids had foretold his end, and the prophecy was clear: he would die alone, his great deeds overshadowed by his tragic demise. As he prepared for the last confrontation, the weight of this knowledge hung heavily on him, mingling with the resolve that had carried him through countless battles. The battle was fierce, and the ground was soaked with the blood of both friend and foe. Cú Chulainn fought with every ounce of strength he had left, his blade a blur of motion, striking down any who dared come near. But the hero's strength, though formidable, was not infinite. As the battle raged on, the enemy forces closed in, determined to end the reign of the great warrior. In the thick of the fight, Cú Chulainn was struck by a spear, its edge piercing through his flesh. Yet, even in this dire moment, his spirit remained unbroken. He fought on, the pain fueling his determination rather than diminishing it. The sight of his courage inspired those around him, but it was clear that the end was near. As he fell to his knees, the legend of Cú Chulainn took on a new, heart-wrenching dimension. His enemies, witnessing his final moments, were struck by a mix of awe and sorrow. They had come to see him as more than a foe. He was a symbol of a heroic spirit that defied the very nature of death. In his last moments, Cú Chulainn's thoughts turned to his people, his land, and the legacy he would leave behind. His heart was heavy with the knowledge that he would not see the peace he had fought for. Yet, even in this somber hour, his thoughts were of his homeland, and he hoped his sacrifices would not be in vain. The hero's end was both tragic and poignant. As Cú Chulainn lay on the battlefield, his enemies, moved by his bravery, hesitated. The once feared warrior, now a symbol of heroism and loss, was surrounded by those he had fought against. His life, marked by battles and glory, was drawing to a close in the most sorrowful of ways. The night fell darker, and the first light of dawn began to break through the horizon. In those final moments, Cú Chulainn's spirit seemed to rise above the mortal coil, a beacon of enduring strength and honor. His body, though battered and broken, lay amidst the field, a testament to a life lived with extraordinary courage. The legends of Cú Chulainn's death would go on to inspire countless tales and songs, each recounting the hero's final stand with a mixture of admiration and melancholy. His story, marked by moments of both triumph and tragedy, was a powerful reminder of the fleeting nature of life and the enduring spirit of those who live with true valor. Cú Chulainn's death was not just the end of a great warrior, but the closing chapter of a legend that would echo through the ages. His legacy, forged in the fires of battle and sealed with his final, heroic stand, would continue to live on in the hearts and minds of those who remembered the hero who fought against fate with unyielding strength and courage. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where the mists cling to the hills and the whisper of legends stirs the air, the story of Finn McCool begins. This tale is not just about a boy who grew into a legendary leader, but about a hero whose journey from humble beginnings to great leadership is nothing short of magical. Finn's story starts in a time of strife and mystery. His father, Cumhaill, was the leader of the Fianna, a band of elite warriors known for their bravery and honor. Tragically, Cumhaill was slain by his enemies, leaving young Finn an orphan before he could even grasp the weight of his father's legacy. As a baby, Finn was hidden away to protect him from those who sought to end the Fianna's line. His mother, desperate to keep her son safe, entrusted him to the care of a druidess named Bodmal and her sister, who took him far from the dangers of the world. Raised in the wilds of Ireland, Finn grew up among the trees and streams, learning the ways of the forest and the lore of old. Though he was far from the great halls of his father's people, the blood of heroes flowed through his veins. Even as a child, there was something extraordinary about him. His sharp mind and natural talent for leadership were evident to those around him. He was no ordinary boy, he was destined for greatness. One of the most pivotal moments in Finn's early life came during a fateful encounter with a mystical being. As a young man, Finn stumbled upon a wise old woman who was in need of help. She was a seer who foretold the future, and she asked Finn for a simple act of kindness. Finn, with his innate sense of honor and compassion, helped her without hesitation. In gratitude, the seer revealed a prophecy to him: Finn would one day lead the Fianna, just as his father had before him. This prophecy was a beacon of hope for Finn, guiding him on his path. Determined to fulfill his destiny, Finn began his journey of self-discovery and training. He sought out the greatest warriors and teachers, honing his skills in combat and wisdom. His adventures were filled with challenges that tested his courage and resolve. One notable trial involved Finn's encounter with a fearsome giant. The giant had been terrorizing the local people, and Finn took it upon himself to end the threat. With bravery and cleverness, he defeated the giant, earning the respect and admiration of those who had once feared him. As Finn grew into a formidable warrior, his reputation spread. His deeds in battle and his wisdom in council began to draw the attention of the Fianna, who were in need of a leader. The Fianna had long been without a true leader since the death of Finn's father, and they were searching for someone who could unite them and restore their honor. When Finn finally came before them, it was not just his prowess in battle that won them over, but his heart and spirit. The Fianna were captivated by Finn's charisma and his unwavering commitment to justice. He was not merely a warrior, he was a leader who inspired others to follow him with loyalty and respect. Under his guidance, the Fianna flourished, becoming the most feared and respected group of warriors in Ireland. Finn's leadership was marked by both his bravery and his wisdom, qualities that earned him the adoration of his people. Finn's rise to power was not without its trials. He faced challenges from rival leaders, treacherous enemies, and even internal conflicts within his own ranks. Yet, with each obstacle, Finn's strength and determination only grew. His ability to overcome adversity and his deep sense of responsibility towards his people made him a true hero in every sense of the word. The tales of Finn McCool's early adventures are filled with wonder and excitement. From his humble beginnings to his rise as the leader of the Fianna, Finn's story is a testament to the power of courage, honor, and destiny. As he led the Fianna with strength and wisdom, he became a legend whose deeds would echo through the ages, a symbol of what it means to rise above one's origins and achieve greatness through sheer will and heart. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where the mists of legend swirl and the whisper of magic lingers in the air, there lies the tale of how Finn McCool gained his great wisdom. It is a story filled with wonder, trials, and a touch of divine destiny, entwining fate with the very essence of knowledge. Finn was not born with the wisdom that would one day make him a legendary figure. His journey to enlightenment began with a simple but profound quest for knowledge. The key to this extraordinary gift was a mythical fish known as the Salmon of Knowledge, a creature of such power that it was said to hold the secrets of the universe within its scales. This tale begins with a wise old druid named Fenian, who had spent his life searching for this elusive fish. He had dedicated years to studying the mysteries of the salmon, convinced that it was the key to unlocking the greatest secrets of the world. Fenian lived beside the river Boyne, a place whispered to be enchanted, and he would sit by the river for hours, waiting for the salmon to appear. Finn, still a young warrior with a thirst for knowledge, had heard tales of the Salmon of Knowledge and was intrigued by its legend. One day, he approached the druid Fenian with a heart full of hope and curiosity. Finn asked to be trained under Fenian, and in return, he would help the druid in his quest for the salmon. Recognizing Finn's earnestness and potential, Fenian agreed. The two men settled by the river Boyne, their days consumed by the patient wait for the salmon. The river, with its ancient magic, seemed to pulse with the promise of what lay beneath its surface. Finn learned much from Fenian, absorbing not just knowledge but also the druid's profound respect for the mysteries of the world. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. One fateful morning, as the dawn light danced on the water's surface, a shimmering figure appeared. It was the Salmon of Knowledge, its scales gleaming with an ethereal light. Fenian's heart leaped with excitement, for he knew that this was the moment he had been waiting for. With a great effort of will, Fenian cast his line and hooked the salmon. The fish was magnificent, its presence almost overwhelming. Finnegas, trembling with anticipation, prepared to cook the salmon. The druid believed that by eating the fish, he would gain its immense wisdom. Finn watched in awe as Finnegas set up the fire and began to cook the salmon. However, fate had its own plans. As the fish sizzled over the fire, a sudden, distracting noise startled Finn. In the midst of his momentary distraction, Finn reached out and touched the fish, his fingers brushing against its flesh. At that very moment, a small piece of the salmon's fat splattered onto Finn's hand. Without thinking, Finn licked the fat from his fingers. Unbeknownst to him, this simple act was enough to impart the salmon's wisdom to Finn. A wave of insight washed over him, and suddenly, he understood things he had never grasped before. The ancient knowledge of the world, its secrets and mysteries, became clear in his mind. Finn could now see beyond the ordinary, grasping truths that were previously hidden from him. When Finnegas finally tasted the salmon, he realized that Finn had unknowingly gained the wisdom intended for him. The druid was both relieved and disappointed. He had hoped to share this gift himself, but it was clear that Finn was now the rightful bearer of this ancient knowledge. Finnegas, wise and gracious, accepted the outcome with dignity. He knew that Finn's destiny was to carry the wisdom forward, and he was proud to have been a part of that journey. Finn, now imbued with this profound wisdom, understood the weight of his gift. His insight into the world and its workings transformed him from a promising warrior into a leader of unmatched sagacity. The knowledge he gained from the salmon of knowledge guided him in his leadership of the Fianna and in his encounters with friends and foes alike. As the years passed, Finn's wisdom became legendary, and the story of the salmon of knowledge was told and retold, not just as a tale of magic, but as a testament to the journey of learning and growth. It was a story that reminded everyone of the importance of patience, curiosity, and the acceptance of the unknown. In the annals of Irish lore, Finn's acquisition of wisdom through the salmon remains a poignant reminder of how even the smallest actions can lead to profound transformations. The salmon of knowledge did not merely bestow wisdom upon Finn, it changed the course of his life and, in turn, the history of Ireland. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where the wild landscapes echo with the stories of old, unfolds the tragic and heart-stirring tale of Diarmuid and Grain. Their love story is not just one of passion and longing, but also of relentless pursuit and harrowing trials. Diarmuid was a warrior of exceptional skill, his beauty and bravery renowned throughout the land. Grain, a princess of great beauty and spirit, found herself caught in a forbidden love. The two lovers' fateful encounter was set against a backdrop of loyalty, betrayal, and a love that defied all odds. The trouble began when Grain, promised to the powerful and vengeful warrior Finn McCool, fell deeply in love with Diarmuid. Their love, pure and intense, was like a flame that refused to be quenched. Desperate to escape a marriage she could not bear, Grain sought Diarmuid, pleading with him to run away with her. Diarmuid, bound by his own code of honor and love for Grain, could not refuse her plea. What followed was a harrowing flight that would test their love and courage. Finn, upon learning of their betrayal, was consumed with fury. His rage, fierce and unyielding, drove him to pursue the lovers with a relentless determination. The vast Irish wilderness, from misty forests to rugged mountains, became the battleground for this tragic chase. As Diarmuid and Grain fled, every step of their journey was fraught with danger and heartache. They sought refuge in the remote corners of the land, their hearts beating with the constant fear of being discovered. Each day, as they traversed the harsh landscapes, their bond grew stronger, forged in the fires of their shared trials. One of the most poignant moments came when they sought shelter in the desolate wilderness. They hid in a cave, their breaths echoing off the cold stone walls as they clung to each other, hoping that Finn's warriors would not find them. The cave, though it shielded them from the elements, seemed to close in around them with the weight of their uncertainty. In those quiet moments, they spoke of their dreams and fears, their love becoming a beacon of hope in the darkness. The trials they faced were not merely physical but also emotional. The constant fear of capture and the weight of their choices took a toll on their spirits. Yet, amid the adversity, their love remained a constant source of strength. Their hearts, though heavy with the burden of their situation, beat with the rhythm of their undying commitment to one another. One particularly heart-wrenching episode occurred when they encountered a treacherous river. With Finn's men hot on their trail, Diarmuid and Grain had no choice but to cross the roaring waters. Diarmuid, ever the protector, carried Grain on his back through the icy currents, his strength tested to its limits. The river, wild and unyielding, seemed to mirror their struggles, but they emerged on the other side, soaked but resolute. Their journey was also marked by moments of unexpected kindness. The couple found brief solace in the homes of sympathetic peasants and allies, who, despite the danger of harboring them, offered shelter and food. These acts of bravery and compassion, though fleeting, were like rays of light piercing through the storm of their plight. Despite their efforts to evade capture, the relentless pursuit continued. The sight of Finn's warriors, closing in like a storm on the horizon, filled them with a deep sense of despair. The lovers' hope was often overshadowed by the fear of their inevitable fate. Yet, through every chase and every confrontation, their love remained a fierce and unyielding force. The ultimate tragedy of their tale lies in the harsh reality of their situation. Despite their courage and devotion, the world they lived in was unforgiving. Their love, though profound, was not enough to shield them from the consequences of their defiance. The relentless pursuit by Finn was not just a physical chase, but a symbol of the insurmountable obstacles they faced. As their story unfolds, it becomes a powerful testament to the nature of love and the cost of defying societal norms. Diarmuid and Grain's journey, marked by bravery and heartbreak, resonates with the timeless themes of love, sacrifice, and the struggle against overwhelming odds. In the annals of Irish folklore, the tale of Diarmuid and Grain stands out as a poignant reminder of the lengths to which people will go for love. Their story, filled with moments of intense emotion and raw vulnerability, captures the essence of human courage and the enduring power of love in the face of relentless adversity. As the misty dawn settled over the Irish landscape, a shadow loomed large over the storied Fianna warriors, marking the end of an era that had once brimmed with glory and valor. The Fianna, once the legendary band of heroes led by Finn McCool, now faced a slow and sorrowful decline, a tale steeped in the poignant echoes of what once was. The Fianna's final days were not a sudden collapse, but a gradual fading of what had been a symbol of strength and honor. Once fierce and untamed, their numbers dwindled, their valor dimmed, and their unity began to crumble. The warriors who had once roamed the land like a fierce storm were now a dwindling band, haunted by the ghosts of their past glories. The decline of the Fianna was marked by the fading echoes of their legendary feats. In their prime, they were unmatched in bravery and skill, their names whispered in awe and reverence. They had protected the land with unwavering courage and loyalty, their stories becoming the stuff of legend. Yet, as the years wore on, their strength waned, and the very fabric of their brotherhood began to fray. Their final days were marred by a series of tragic events. Internal discord weakened their once unbreakable bonds. Jealousies, rivalries, and old grievances surfaced, tearing apart the unity that had been their greatest strength. The camaraderie that once held them together was replaced by suspicion and discord. Their legendary leader, Finn McCool, faced the bitter reality of seeing his beloved band unravel before his eyes. The battles they fought in these final days were not against external foes, but against the creeping decay within their ranks. The land they had once defended now seemed indifferent to their plight. As the Fianna struggled with their own diminishing power, they found themselves unable to hold back the tide of change sweeping through Ireland. One particularly heart-wrenching episode was the loss of some of their greatest heroes. Warriors who had once stood as symbols of unyielding strength and valor fell one by one, their lives ending in the most tragic of ways. The cries of loss echoed through the land, and the remaining Fianna could only mourn the heroes who had fought by their side. Each loss was a painful reminder of their fading glory and the inevitable end that awaited them. The end came not with a grand battle, but with a quiet surrender to the inevitable. The Fianna disbanded, their numbers reduced to a mere shadow of what they had once been. The once proud warriors, who had roamed the land as protectors and heroes, now drifted into obscurity. The mighty band that had once been a symbol of Ireland's strength and resilience was reduced to a fading memory, their legacy preserved only in the stories and songs of the land. Finn McCool, the great leader who had once led his warriors through countless battles, faced the somber reality of his band's decline. His heart, once filled with the pride of leading the greatest warriors of Ireland, was now heavy with the sorrow of their loss. The final days of the Fianna were not marked by triumph, but by a profound sense of melancholy and the painful acknowledgement of an era that had passed. In the quiet moments of reflection, the last of the Fianna warriors would remember their past with a mix of pride and sorrow. The stories of their heroism and the echoes of their once great deeds became a bittersweet reminder of what had been. They had fought valiantly, lived honorably, and now faced the twilight of their existence with a deep sense of loss. The decline of the Fianna marked the end of a storied chapter in Irish history. Their once glorious era faded into legend, leaving behind a legacy that would be remembered with a mixture of reverence and sorrow. The Fianna's final days were a poignant reminder of the fleeting nature of glory and the inevitable march of time, a story of heroes who had once shone brightly but were now slowly fading into the mists of memory. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where the veil between the mortal and the divine was thin, a tale of love and sorrow unfolded, a story of Táin, a goddess of unparalleled beauty, and Midr, a fairy prince with a heart as boundless as his power. Their romance, though filled with passion and promise, was shadowed by trials that would test their love and resolve in ways neither could foresee. Táin, radiant and ethereal, captured the heart of Midr from the moment he laid eyes on her. She was a vision of grace and elegance, her beauty shining like a beacon in the twilight of the otherworld. Midr, though a prince of the fairy realm, was not immune to the enchanting allure of Táin. His love for her was immediate and intense, a fire that burned brightly and could not be easily extinguished. But their love was not to be a simple fairy tale. Midr's desire to be with Táin was met with fierce opposition from the goddess's stepmother, who was envious of Táin's beauty and charm. The stepmother's bitterness twisted into dark magic, and she used her power to separate the lovers, casting a powerful spell that would change the course of their lives forever. The curse wrought by Táin's stepmother was cruel and thorough. Táin was transformed into a beautiful butterfly, while Midr was forced to watch helplessly as his beloved was taken from him. For years, Midr's heart ached with longing and despair, unable to find any solace or hope. He wandered the land, searching for Táin, his heart heavy with the weight of his loss. The trials of their love story did not end there. Táin's butterfly form was not permanent, and she was doomed to a cycle of rebirths. Each time she was reincarnated, she faced new challenges, her life marked by the pain of lost love and the struggle to remember her past. Midr, undeterred by the trials that fate had thrown their way, remained steadfast in his quest to reunite with her. As Táin was reborn into different lives, Midr's search continued. His journey took him through the realms of both the mortal and the fairy worlds, each step driven by an unshakable hope that he would find his lost love. The weight of his sorrow was immense, but his determination never wavered. His love for Táin was a guiding light in the darkness, a beacon that kept him moving forward despite the overwhelming odds. The reunion between Táin and Midr was a moment of profound joy and deep sorrow. After enduring countless hardships and obstacles, the lovers finally came together. Their reunion was not without its share of challenges, as they had to navigate the treacherous waters of jealousy, betrayal, and lingering bitterness. Yet, in their hearts, there was a fierce joy, a sense of triumph over the trials that had sought to keep them apart. Their love story, though marked by sorrow and struggle, was a testament to the enduring power of true love. It was a reminder that even the most beautiful and pure of emotions could be tested by the harshest of trials, yet still, they could prevail. Táin and Midr's romance was a journey of the heart, a path that led them through pain and longing to a place where love was their guiding light. In the end, the tale of Táin and Midr was more than just a love story. It was a narrative of perseverance and hope, a saga of two souls whose love transcended the barriers of magic and time. Their story, though marked by separation and suffering, was also filled with moments of profound beauty and joy, a testament to the strength of their bond and the depth of their devotion. Their romance, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the trials of fate, stood as a beacon of hope and a reminder that true love, no matter how tested, could overcome even the most daunting of challenges. The tale of Táin and Midir is a poignant reminder of the power of love to conquer all, even in the face of the most daunting trials. In the heart of ancient Ireland, under skies shadowed with both hope and despair, unfolds a tale of love so intense it burns through the ages, Deirdre of the Sorrows. This is a story where love and tragedy dance an inexorable waltz, leading to the downfall of the mighty Red Branch warriors and casting a long shadow over Irish legend. Deirdre, a woman of extraordinary beauty and destiny, was born under a dark omen. A prophecy foretold her life would be intertwined with sorrow and ruin, a curse that would cling to her like a second skin. Despite the heavy clouds surrounding her fate, Deirdre's heart, as radiant as the moon, was destined for a love that would defy the very bounds of the prophecy. Her love was for Nawaz, a warrior of great valor and charm, whose heart was captured by Deirdre's ethereal beauty and spirit. From the moment their eyes met, an unbreakable bond was formed, a bond that would become both their greatest joy and their deepest sorrow. Nawaz was a hero of the Red Branch, a warrior whose courage was matched only by his loyalty. Their love was passionate, pure, and full of promise, but it was also like a flame that could never truly be tamed. Their romance, however, did not unfold in peace. Deirdre's beauty had drawn the attention of Connachtbar mac Nessa, the king of Ulster, whose desire for her was fueled by jealousy and power. Connachtbar, a man who could not bear the thought of Deirdre being with another, made plans to take her for himself. His intentions were dark, driven by a selfish lust for control rather than genuine affection. To escape this impending doom, Deirdre and Nawaz fled, taking refuge in the wilds of Ireland. They were joined by Nawaz's brothers, and together, they sought solace and safety. But even in their flight, their love was not shielded from the wrath of fate. The Red Branch warriors, sworn to protect their king, found themselves drawn into the unfolding drama, their loyalty to Connachtbar putting them in direct conflict with the lovers. The couple's retreat was marked by peril and heartache. Their refuge was a fragile dream, always threatened by the looming presence of Connachtbar's vengeful plans. Deirdre's sorrow grew with each passing day, her once bright hope dimming under the weight of the relentless pursuit. Yet, through all the trials and heartache, her love for Nawaz remained her guiding light. The tragic climax of their story came with a devastating betrayal. The loyalty of the Red Branch warriors was tested, and in a twist of fate, they were drawn into a scheme that would lead them to confront Nawaz and his brothers. Connachtbar's machinations, driven by a cruel mix of greed and spite, led to a confrontation that would forever alter the course of their lives. Nawaz and his brothers were lured into a trap, their trust in those they considered allies shattered. The ensuing battle was fierce and unforgiving, a brutal clash of hearts and steel. Nawaz, a hero in every sense, fought valiantly, but the odds were against him. In the end, the once proud Red Branch warriors were left in ruins, their honor stained by betrayal and bloodshed. Deirdre's heart shattered with the death of her beloved. The pain of her loss was immense, a grief that could not be soothed by time or tears. Her sorrow was not just for Nawaz, but also for the dream that had been so cruelly torn from her grasp. The love that had once been her greatest joy had become her greatest torment. Her story, marked by such profound tragedy, became a lament for the fallen heroes and the broken dreams. Deirdre's life, a poignant tapestry of love and loss, was a tale that spoke to the deepest fears and hopes of the human heart. It served as a reminder of how fragile and fleeting happiness can be, and how even the brightest of loves can be overshadowed by the dark clouds of fate. In the end, the tale of Deirdre and Nawaz stands as a powerful and heart-wrenching testament to the strength of love and the inevitability of sorrow. Their love, though beautiful and profound, could not withstand the harsh realities of their world. Their story, filled with passion and pain, is a moving reminder of the cost of love and the price of destiny. In the ancient, mist-covered hills of Ireland, where the whispers of the old gods linger in the air, the Druids stood as the revered bridges between the mortal world and the divine. Their presence was both commanding and mysterious, their role woven into the very fabric of Celtic spirituality and folklore. To understand the Druids is to glimpse into a world where the sacred and the earthly intertwined in a dance of wisdom, power, and profound reverence. The Druids were not merely priests or scholars, they were the custodians of knowledge that spanned the cosmos. They were the wise men and women of ancient Ireland, whose wisdom was said to come directly from the gods. Draped in cloaks of nature's own making and armed with staffs that seemed to hum with an inner light, they moved through their world as if they were born of it. Their very existence seemed to breathe in harmony with the land, the trees, and the heavens. In the heart of their sacred groves, surrounded by ancient oaks and misty streams, the Druids practiced rituals that connected the human soul with the divine. These sacred groves were not just places of worship, they were the very intersections where the earthly and the ethereal met. Here, the Druids would perform ceremonies that sought to commune with the gods, to seek their favor, and to understand their will. With each ritual, they wove a tapestry of incantations and offerings, their voices rising in unison with the wind, carrying prayers to the heavens. The Druids were also the keepers of profound knowledge. They were well versed in the cycles of the moon and the stars, and their understanding of nature was both scientific and mystical. They knew the secrets of herbs and plants, how to heal with them, and how to use them in their rituals. Their knowledge was not just a collection of facts, but a living, breathing understanding of the world's rhythms and mysteries. But their role extended beyond mere rituals and knowledge. Druids were the mediators between gods and humans, their words a bridge that spanned the gap between the celestial and the mundane. They were consulted in times of crisis, their guidance sought for decisions of great importance. When conflicts arose between tribes or within the chieftain's court, it was often the Druid's voice that offered counsel. Their words held weight, often steering the fate of entire communities. In the tales that surround them, the Druids are portrayed as both awe-inspiring and fearsome. They had the ability to invoke the power of the gods and to call upon their favor or wrath. This power made them figures of great respect and fear. Their ability to cast spells, foretell the future, and perform miracles was seen as a divine gift, but it also made them targets for those who would seek to challenge their authority or seek revenge. One poignant story speaks of a Druid's sorrowful prophecy that foretold the end of a great kingdom. The prophecy, delivered with a heavy heart, was both a blessing and a curse. It spoke of inevitable doom but also offered a glimmer of hope through a cycle of renewal. This story captures the Druids' role not only as harbingers of fate but as compassionate guides who bore the weight of their people's destiny with grace. The Druids' connection to the gods was both revered and enigmatic. They were said to possess the ability to travel between worlds, to walk the paths of the divine and the earthly with equal ease. This connection granted them a unique perspective, allowing them to interpret the will of the gods and bring it to the people. Yet, this gift came with its own burdens. The knowledge they carried was often heavy, laden with the responsibility of guiding their people through the whims of fate and the capricious nature of the gods. Their decline, when it came, was a somber chapter in history. As new religions and political systems emerged, the Druids found themselves on the fringes of the world they had once so profoundly shaped. Their sacred groves were abandoned, their rituals suppressed, and their once grand role diminished. Yet, the legacy of the Druids lives on in the echoes of their stories, the reverence for their knowledge, and the awe of their spiritual depth. In the stories that have been passed down through the ages, the Druids are remembered not just for their role as mediators, but for their profound connection to the world and the divine. Their lives were a testament to a time when the sacred and the earthly were not separate but intertwined, each influencing the other in a delicate balance of power, wisdom, and reverence. Their legacy, though faded, remains a poignant reminder of a time when the world was full of magic and mystery, and the Druids were its wise and honored custodians. In the ancient tales of Ireland, where the mists of time blur with the echoes of legend, there exists a land so enchanting that it defies the very essence of mortal existence. This land is Tír na nÓg, the otherworld, a place of eternal youth and unending beauty. To speak of Tír na nÓg is to speak of dreams and desires, where the normal rules of time and aging do not apply, and where the very air seems to hum with a promise of everlasting joy. Tír na nÓg is not a place of mere fantasy, it is a realm that holds deep significance in Irish mythology. It is described as a land of breathtaking splendor, where the sun never sets and the seasons never change. Everything in Tír na nÓg is bathed in a perpetual twilight of golden light, giving the land an ethereal quality that seems almost too beautiful to be real. The fields are always lush, the flowers perpetually in bloom, and the rivers sparkle with a clarity that reflects the happiness of its inhabitants. This paradise is not just a place of endless beauty, but also a sanctuary where time itself stands still, offering its residents the gift of eternal youth. The rulers of Tir na Nog are as fascinating as the land itself. They are often depicted as powerful and benevolent figures, possessing an almost divine grace. Among them, the most notable is the powerful and enchanting goddess Táin. Her story is one of love and longing, as she resides in Tir na Nog with her beloved Midir. Their love is said to transcend the boundaries of time and space, symbolizing the purest form of eternal devotion. Táin and Midir's relationship is a central thread in the tapestry of Tir na Nog, their happiness reflecting the blissful nature of the land itself. Yet, Tir na Nog is not merely a paradise, but also a place of profound mystery and significance. It represents the ultimate longing for something beyond the mortal coil, a realm where one can escape the struggles and hardships of human life. It is a place where souls go to find peace and where heroes and heroines find their reward for their deeds on earth. For many, it symbolizes the ideal of perfect happiness and eternal contentment, a dream of a life free from the suffering and aging that define human existence. In Irish mythology, Tir na Nog is closely tied to the stories of heroic quests and tragic romances. One of the most famous tales is that of Oisin, the son of Finn McCool. Oisin's journey to Tir na Nog is a tale filled with enchantment and sorrow. When he is whisked away to this land of eternal youth by the beautiful Niamh, he leaves behind the world he knows. The promise of eternal youth and happiness is too alluring to resist, and he embarks on this journey with a heart full of hope. However, the joy of Tir na Nog comes with a poignant price. Though the land itself remains timeless, Oisin's return to his mortal world reveals the passage of time in a way he had never expected. The tales of Tir na Nog often carry a deep emotional weight. They speak to the human desire for an escape from life's trials and the inevitable sadness when that dream cannot be fully realized. Oisin's eventual return to Ireland is marked by an aching realization of the years that have passed. Despite the eternal beauty of Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth cannot shield its visitors from the realities of their own lives. In these stories, Tir na Nog becomes a symbol of both our greatest dreams and our deepest sorrows. It represents the allure of an ideal existence, where one can be free from the burdens of aging and loss. Yet, it also highlights the inevitable reality that such a perfect realm cannot fully escape the weight of time and the human condition. Tir na Nog is more than just a mythical land, it is a reflection of the human spirit's yearning for a place of peace and happiness beyond the reach of earthly struggles. It is a testament to the beauty and sorrow that coexist in our dreams and desires, a place where the promise of eternal youth and joy is both enchanting and poignant. Through its stories, Tir na Nog speaks to the timeless human longing for a better world, a longing that resonates deeply in the heart of every dreamer and seeker. In the heart of Irish mythology, where ancient legends and vibrant landscapes intertwine, sacred animals hold a place of profound significance. These creatures are more than mere animals, they are imbued with mystical qualities and deep symbolic meanings, shaping the very fabric of the stories told by the Irish people. Each sacred animal, be it the bull, the salmon, or the hound, carries with it a story that resonates with the eternal dance between the natural and the divine. Imagine standing at the edge of a lush meadow where the air is alive with whispers of ancient magic. The bull, a powerful and majestic creature, stands as a symbol of strength and fertility. Its sheer size and strength make it a fitting emblem of the earth's robust and nurturing spirit. In mythic tales, the bull often represents abundance and prosperity, such as the famous Táin Bó Cúailnge or Cattle Raid of Cooley, where a prized brown bull becomes the focal point of a great and tragic conflict. The bull is not just an animal but a living symbol of the land's vitality and the fierce determination of its people. Moving from the earth to the shimmering waters, the salmon emerges as a creature of great wisdom and mystery. In the myths, the salmon is often associated with knowledge and enlightenment. The most famous tale involving the salmon is that of the salmon of knowledge. According to the legend, this mystical fish swims in the well of wisdom, and those who eat its flesh gain profound knowledge and insight. The image of the salmon leaping from the water, its scales glistening with the promise of hidden wisdom, captures the imagination and speaks to the desire for understanding that lies within us all. The salmon's journey from the depths of the river to the surface symbolizes the quest for knowledge that can elevate the human spirit. The hound, another sacred animal in Irish myth, embodies loyalty, courage, and the bond between humans and the natural world. The most famous hound in Irish mythology is Cú Chulainn's loyal companion, whose name is as legendary as his master's. The hound's role extends beyond mere companionship. It often symbolizes the hero's strength and bravery. The bond between Cú Chulainn and his hound highlights a deeper connection between man and animal, where the hound's fierce loyalty and protective nature are mirrored by the hero's own virtues. In these stories, the hound is not just a creature of the hunt, but a living emblem of the hero's inner strength and valor. Each of these animals plays a vital role in the tapestry of Irish mythology, offering more than just symbolic representation. They are woven into the very essence of the myths, influencing the actions of gods and heroes alike. The sacred animals are reminders of the interconnectedness between the natural world and the mythical realms, embodying the qualities that the ancient Irish held dear: strength, wisdom, and loyalty. When the ancient stories speak of these animals, they do more than recount events. They breathe life into the values and beliefs of a bygone era. The bull's strength, the salmon's wisdom, and the hound's loyalty are more than mere traits. They are reflections of the qualities that define the human experience. These animals, in their mythical forms, embody the virtues and ideals that guided the lives of those who lived so long ago, connecting their stories to the very heart of nature and the divine. In every legend, as the sun sets and shadows stretch across the land, the presence of these sacred animals lingers. They are not just characters in a story, but echoes of a deeper truth, a reminder of the magic that exists in the world around us. The sacred animals of Irish mythology stand as eternal symbols of the qualities that make us human, inviting us to reflect on our own strengths, our own quests for knowledge, and our own bonds of loyalty. Through their stories, we connect with the ancient past and with the timeless essence of the natural world, where every creature plays a role in the grand, mythic dance of life. In the ancient rhythm of the Celtic calendar, every turn of the seasons was a brushstroke on the canvas of life and myth. The cycle of the year, marked by 4 major festivals, Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lugnasad, was more than a measure of time. It was a reflection of the deep, interwoven relationship between the land, its people, and their gods. These festivals were moments of profound connection, where the natural world's transformations mirrored the spiritual and cultural shifts of the Celtic people. As autumn cloaked the land in shades of gold and crimson, Samhain arrived with its veil of mystery. This festival, held on the eve of November 1st, was a doorway to the otherworld. Under the darkening sky, with the scent of burning wood and fallen leaves in the air, the boundary between the living and the dead grew thin. Ancient fires were lit to honor the ancestors and ward off the wandering spirits that roamed freely during this liminal time. Samhain was not just a festival but a sacred moment of reflection and remembrance, where the past and present entwined in a dance of shadows and light. The flickering flames of the bonfires symbolized the light of knowledge and protection against the darkness of the unknown. Winter's chill brought Imbolc, celebrated on February 1st, as a beacon of hope in the heart of the cold season. This festival marked the beginning of the journey towards spring, with the first signs of life stirring beneath the frost. Imbolc was dedicated to Brigid, the goddess of fire and fertility, whose presence warmed the earth and heralded the coming renewal. The festival was a time of purification and light, where homes were blessed and fires were lit to invoke the goddess's warmth. Imbolc's rituals, with their focus on cleansing and preparation, reflected the quiet, hopeful anticipation of new beginnings as the world slowly emerged from winter's grasp. As the earth awoke from its slumber, Beltane burst forth on May 1st, a celebration of life, growth, and fertility. The land, now alive with vibrant greens and blossoming flowers, danced in the fire's glow. Beltane was a festival of passion and exuberance, marked by the lighting of bonfires and the weaving of garlands. Couples jumped over the flames, believing it would ensure their love, strength, and fertility. The maypole, adorned with ribbons and flowers, symbolized the union of the divine and the earthly, embodying the joy and vitality of the season. Beltane celebrations were a vivid reminder of nature's cycles and the deep, primal connection between human life and the land's flourishing. As summer waned and the first hints of autumn approached, Lugnasad, celebrated on August 1st, emerged as a festival of harvest and thanksgiving. Named after the god Lugh, known for his skill and craftsmanship, this festival honored the first fruits of the season. The air was filled with the scent of ripe grains and fruits as communities came together for feasts and games. Lugnasad was not only a time of gratitude but also a moment to celebrate the community's hard work and the abundance of the earth. The festival's activities, from racing to storytelling, reflected the joy and fulfillment of the harvest season, marking a time of sharing and communal celebration. Each festival, deeply rooted in the Celtic understanding of the natural world, was a celebration of life cycles and a tribute to the gods who governed these changes. The festivals were not mere observances but sacred moments of connection with the earth's rhythms and the divine forces that shaped their existence. They marked the passage of time in a way that intertwined human lives with the land's eternal dance, creating a tapestry of myth and reality where every season brought its own magic and significance. As the Celtic calendar's wheel turned, it wove together the threads of life, death, rebirth, and harvest. These festivals, each with its own unique character and rituals, were more than mere celebrations. They were profound acknowledgments of the cyclical nature of existence and the deep, spiritual relationship between the people and their world. Through Samhain's shadows, Imbolc's promise, Beltane's joy, and Lugnasad's gratitude, the ancient Celts lived in harmony with the land's sacred rhythm, embracing each season's gifts and honoring the eternal flow of life and myth. In the heart of Ireland's mythic landscape lies a tapestry of tales, woven together in the Liber Gabala Erin, or the Book of Invasions. This ancient manuscript carries the echoes of Ireland's earliest stories, tracing the footsteps of legendary figures who ventured into the Emerald Isle long before it became known as home to its people. Through its pages, we witness a vivid chronicle of invasion, struggle, and the unyielding quest for a promised land. The saga begins with Partholin, a name that resonates with the first stirrings of civilization. Partholin and his followers are the first to set foot on Ireland after a great flood has swept away the previous inhabitants. Their arrival marks the beginning of a new era, a time when the land is fresh and unclaimed. Partholin, a figure of hope and resilience, leads his people with a vision of prosperity and peace. They cultivate the land, build homes, and lay the foundations of a thriving community. But their joy is short-lived. A devastating plague sweeps through the land, and Partholin's people are reduced to mere memories. Their story, though fleeting, is a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the transient nature of human endeavor. As the years turn into centuries, the narrative unfolds with the coming of the Nemedians, another group of invaders who seek to claim Ireland. The Nemedians, too, face hardships, battling against giants and enduring harsh trials. Despite their resilience and strength, their story ends in tragedy. They are forced to flee, their dreams shattered by the relentless forces they cannot conquer. The Nemedian saga is marked by a haunting sense of loss and struggle, a reflection of the harsh realities that shaped the early history of Ireland. Following the Nemedians are the Fir Bolg, a group that arrives with a determination to make Ireland their own. The Fir Bolg are known for their skill and strength, and they establish a kingdom that stands as a testament to their resilience. However, their peace is soon disturbed by the arrival of the Tuatha Dé Danann, a race of gods and magical beings. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their divine powers and mystical allure, engage in a fierce struggle with the Fir Bolg. The battles between them are epic, filled with heroic deeds and tragic losses. Despite their might, the Fir Bolg are eventually defeated and driven into the shadows, their once thriving kingdom reduced to a mere echo of its former glory. The Tuatha Dé Danann's reign marks a golden age, filled with enchantment and wonder. They bring with them the gifts of magic and wisdom, transforming Ireland into a land of myth and splendor. Their presence is a breath of life to the land, and their tales are rich with beauty and wonder. Yet, even their divine rule is not immune to the tides of fate. As time passes, the arrival of the Milesians, the final wave of invaders, brings a new chapter to Ireland's history. The Milesians, descendants of the ancient kings of Spain, come with a sense of destiny and a claim to the land that they believe is rightfully theirs. The Milesians' arrival is marked by a clash of cultures and a fierce struggle for dominance. The Tuatha Dé Danann, though divine, cannot withstand the determined advance of the Milesians. The battles that ensue are fierce and relentless, filled with the weight of ancient prophecies and the promise of a new era. In the end, the Milesians emerge victorious, and the Tuatha Dé Danann retreat into the otherworld, their once glorious reign giving way to the new rulers of Ireland. Their departure is not a mere exit but a transformation, as they become the fairies and spirits that continue to influence the land in subtle and mysterious ways. The Liber Gabala Erin captures the essence of these mythic invasions with a poignant sense of continuity and change. Each wave of invaders brings its own dreams and struggles, contributing to the rich tapestry of Ireland's history. The stories are not just chronicles of conquest, but reflections of the human spirit, resilience in the face of adversity, the pursuit of a promised land, and the inevitable changes that shape the course of history. Through its pages, we are reminded of the enduring nature of these ancient tales. They speak of a land that has been fought over, cherished, and transformed by those who came before. The Liber Gabala Erin is a testament to the power of myth and legend, capturing the essence of Ireland's eternal dance between the past and the present, the mortal and the divine. In these stories, we find a mirror to our own struggles and aspirations, a timeless reminder of the resilience and hope that define the human experience. In the heart of ancient Ireland, where legends were born and the land whispered of its storied past, the Fir Bolg emerged as a mighty and enigmatic race. Their saga is etched into the very fabric of Irish mythology, capturing the imagination with tales of power, struggle, and an indomitable spirit. They ruled Ireland with a combination of strength and wisdom, their story resonating with a bittersweet blend of triumph and tragedy. The Fir Bolg were a people of great fortitude, marked by their resilience and their deep connection to the land they claimed as their own. They came to Ireland after enduring a series of harrowing trials and battles, having fled from their previous homeland in a bid to find peace and prosperity. Their arrival was a moment of hope and renewal, a chance to build something lasting after so much hardship. Upon settling in Ireland, the Fir Bolg did not merely take possession of the land, they transformed it. Their presence was not just about physical occupation, but about infusing the land with their own spirit and culture. They established a thriving society, creating communities and fortresses that stood as symbols of their resilience and ambition. They were builders and warriors, and their settlements reflected a deep respect for the land that had become their new home. Yet, their time in Ireland was marked by an intense struggle, not with the land itself, but with the forces that sought to challenge their dominance. The arrival of the Tuatha Dé Danann, a race of gods and supernatural beings, heralded a new era of conflict. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their magical powers and divine heritage, were unlike any adversaries the Fir Bolg had faced before. Their arrival brought with it an air of inevitability, a sense that the old order was about to be replaced by something extraordinary and otherworldly. The battles between the Fir Bolg and the Tuatha Dé Danann were fierce and unrelenting. The Fir Bolg fought with everything they had, driven by the need to protect their hard-won home and preserve their way of life. Their warriors, fierce and courageous, stood against the magical forces that sought to unseat them. Each clash was a testament to their bravery, a display of the raw power and determination that had defined their time in Ireland. Despite their valiant efforts, the Fir Bolg could not withstand the full force of the Tuatha Dé Danann's magic and might. The final battles were a harrowing display of the changing tides, a poignant reminder of the inevitability of change. As the Tuatha Dé Danann emerged victorious, the Fir Bolg were forced to retreat, their once thriving kingdom reduced to a shadow of its former self. The retreat of the Fir Bolg was not just a physical departure, but an emotional and spiritual one as well. They left behind a land they had nurtured and fought for, their dreams of enduring prosperity eclipsed by the rise of a new power. The departure was marked by a profound sense of loss and sadness, a poignant end to an era of hope and struggle. Yet, the legacy of the Fir Bolg did not fade entirely. Their story continued to resonate through the ages, remembered for the strength and resilience they had brought to Ireland. They became a part of the rich tapestry of Irish mythology, their tale woven into the larger narrative of the land's history. Their contributions and sacrifices were remembered with a sense of respect and admiration, their once vibrant kingdom becoming a symbol of what had been and what might have been. The Fir Bolg saga is a moving reminder of the cyclical nature of history and the inexorable flow of time. Their story, filled with both glory and grief, captures the essence of the human experience, a blend of triumph and defeat, hope and heartache. Through their tale, we feel the weight of their struggle, the pain of their loss, and the enduring spirit that defined their time in Ireland. In the ancient whispers of Ireland's past, a new chapter began with the arrival of the Milesians, a people whose destiny was intertwined with the land and its mystical inhabitants. Their story is one of epic conflict and profound change, as they clashed with the Tuatha Dé Danann, the powerful beings who had long ruled the Emerald Isle. This saga of conquest, division, and transformation is a tale steeped in emotion and grandeur, echoing through the ages with a timeless resonance. The Milesians were a people driven by a deep-seated yearning to claim their place in a land they believed was their rightful heritage. They came from across the sea, their ships cutting through the waves with a sense of purpose and determination. Their arrival was marked by a blend of excitement and trepidation, for they knew that they were stepping into a world ruled by beings of great power and magic. As the Milesians set foot on the shores of Ireland, they were met with a land that was both inviting and formidable. The Tuatha Dé Danann, the ancient deities and rulers of the land, were not just mythical beings, they were guardians of a realm steeped in enchantment and mystery. The confrontation between the Milesians and the Tuatha Dé Danann was inevitable, a clash of worlds that would reshape the destiny of Ireland forever. The struggle that ensued was not just a battle of strength, but a profound contest of wills and principles. The Milesians, with their resolve and valor, sought to establish their presence and claim their share of the land. The Tuatha Dé Danann, on the other hand, were driven by their own sense of sovereignty and their connection to the mystical forces that had shaped Ireland. Their magical prowess was formidable, their power evident in the very essence of the land itself. The conflict between these two great forces was a tapestry of intense and dramatic encounters. The battles were fierce, each side wielding their unique strengths with a passion and desperation that spoke to their deep connection to Ireland. The air was thick with tension, the very earth trembling beneath the weight of their struggle. The clashes were not merely physical, they were a reflection of the profound change that was sweeping across the land. In the end, a resolution was reached that would define the future of Ireland. The Milesians, despite their fierce determination and courage, could not completely dislodge the Tuatha Dé Danann from their mystical strongholds. Instead, a division was agreed upon, a compromise that would allow both parties to coexist, albeit in separate realms. This division was not just a physical separation but a symbolic one, marking the shift from one era to another. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their magical and divine heritage, retreated to the otherworldly realms that lay hidden from mortal eyes. They would remain as the guardians of the mystical aspects of Ireland, their presence felt in the whispers of the wind and the rustle of the ancient trees. Their departure was not a defeat but a transition to a different plane of existence, where their influence would continue in subtler, more ethereal ways. The Milesians, now firmly established, began to shape the land in their image. They built their settlements and forged their own path, their presence a testament to their enduring spirit and ambition. Ireland's landscape was transformed by their arrival, their culture and traditions blending with the remnants of the old ways. Their legacy was one of resilience and adaptation as they navigated the complexities of their new home. The division of Ireland between the Milesians and the Tuatha Dé Danann marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. It was a time of profound change, a period of transition that saw the old order give way to the new. The stories of the Milesians and the Tuatha Dé Danann became legends, their fates intertwined in a narrative that would be told and retold through the ages. In the end, the tale of the Milesians and their division of Ireland is a poignant reminder of the power of change and the enduring nature of legacy. It is a story that captures the essence of struggle and triumph, of the blending of worlds and the creation of something new from the echoes of the past. Their saga resonates with a sense of timelessness, a reflection of the eternal dance between the seen and the unseen, the mortal and the divine. The dawn of Christianity in Ireland is not just a tale of religious transformation, it is a poignant story of cultural fusion and emotional upheaval. As the new faith spread across the emerald landscape, it didn't merely erase what came before, but wove its own threads into the rich tapestry of Irish mythology. This blending of the old and the new created a landscape where ancient pagan beliefs and Christian ideals coexisted in a unique and touching harmony. When Christianity arrived on Ireland's shores, it encountered a land already steeped in myth and legend. The pagan gods and goddesses were deeply woven into the lives and beliefs of the people. The hills and rivers, the sacred groves, and ancient stones were more than just features of the landscape, they were alive with spiritual significance and stories that had been passed down through generations. As Christian missionaries, led by figures like St. Patrick, began their work, they did not come to erase the old ways, but to integrate them into the new faith. The early missionaries showed remarkable sensitivity and understanding, recognizing the deep connection between the Irish people and their ancient traditions. Instead of condemning the old beliefs outright, they sought ways to incorporate familiar symbols and customs into the Christian framework. One of the most poignant examples of this blending can be seen in the way Christian saints and figures began to mirror or incorporate aspects of the old gods and heroes. Saint Bridget, for instance, was placed alongside the ancient goddess Bridget, whose name and attributes she seemed to inherit. The goddess Bridget was associated with fire, poetry, and healing, and the Christian Saint Bridget adopted many of these characteristics, becoming a patron of similar domains. Her feast day, February 1st, coincides with Imbolc, a pagan festival celebrating the goddess Bridget's influence. Similarly, many pagan festivals were transformed rather than discarded. Samhain, the ancient festival marking the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, became associated with All Hallows' Eve and later Halloween. The connections between the pagan and Christian celebrations became blurred, with the old traditions finding new meaning within the Christian calendar. The stories of the old gods and heroes did not disappear but were reinterpreted through a Christian lens. The Tuatha Dé Danann, once mighty gods and rulers of the land, became figures of myth and legend whose stories were retold with a new emphasis. The ancient tales were not erased but adapted, with the gods sometimes becoming fairies or spirits in the Christianized versions of the stories. This process of adaptation allowed the old myths to survive, transformed yet familiar, and allowed the people to retain a sense of continuity with their past. Christianity also introduced new symbols and ideas that began to blend with the old. The Celtic cross, with its intersecting arms and circle, became a symbol of this fusion. It incorporated the Christian cross with the ancient pagan symbol of the sun wheel, creating a new icon that bridged the two worlds. The cross stood as a powerful emblem of how the new faith was rooted in and yet transcended the old ways. The emotional impact of this blending was profound. For many, the arrival of Christianity was not a simple transition but a complex and often painful transformation. It was a process of reconciling the deeply held beliefs and practices of one's ancestors with the new teachings and practices. The blending of pagan and Christian elements allowed for a continuity of cultural identity, a way to honor the past while embracing the new. The stories, myths, and legends of Ireland became a living testament to this synthesis. They reflect a culture that adapted and evolved, retaining its core while incorporating new dimensions. The blending of Christianity with Irish mythology is a testament to the resilience of cultural traditions and the ability of people to find meaning and connection amidst change. This intertwining of old and new is not just a historical footnote but a reflection of the human experience itself, the way in which people find harmony in the midst of transformation, keeping the essence of their beliefs while adapting to new realities. It is a reminder that change does not have to mean loss. It can be an opportunity for growth and renewal, where the past and the present come together to create something profoundly new and beautiful. In the end, the story of Christianity and Irish mythology is a moving narrative of continuity and change. It is a reflection of how cultures can blend, adapt, and thrive, creating a tapestry of beliefs and traditions that honor the past while embracing the future. In the vast landscape of literature, Irish mythology stands like an ancient, evergreen tree, its roots spreading deep into the ground and its branches reaching out to touch modern works with its timeless tales. The echoes of ancient myths resonate through the pages of contemporary literature, carrying the weight of centuries-old stories into the modern world. This blend of old and new has shaped some of the most influential literary works, revealing how deeply these myths have touched the hearts and minds of writers. W.B. Yeats, a luminary of Irish literature, was profoundly influenced by Irish mythology. His poems and plays are imbued with the magic and mystery of the ancient tales. Yeats was fascinated by the myths of Ireland, particularly those involving the Tuatha Dé Danann and the fairy folk. In his work, the otherworldly beings and legendary heroes of Irish mythology come alive with a palpable sense of wonder. Yeats's writing reflects a deep yearning to connect with a world that is both magical and hauntingly familiar. His poems, such as The Song of Wandering Angus and The Stolen Child, draw directly from the rich tapestry of Irish myth, blending its ethereal beauty with his own poetic vision. The result is a literature that not only tells stories but evokes the very essence of the mythic past. James Joyce, another towering figure in modern literature, also wove the threads of Irish mythology into his groundbreaking works. His novel Ulysses is a masterpiece of modernist literature, but its roots run deep into the mythological soil of Ireland. Joyce drew inspiration from Homer's Odyssey, blending its epic journey with the everyday struggles of his protagonist, Leopold Bloom, in Dublin. This fusion creates a rich tapestry of myth and reality, where the ancient hero's quest is mirrored in the mundane experiences of modern life. Joyce's ability to layer mythological references into his narrative adds a profound depth, showing how ancient stories can illuminate the complexities of contemporary existence. In modern fantasy literature, the influence of Irish mythology is equally striking. Writers have been captivated by the rich tapestry of gods, heroes, and magical creatures that populate the ancient tales. The allure of these myths is not just in their fantastical elements, but in the universal themes they explore: love, loss, bravery, and the struggle between light and darkness. Contemporary fantasy authors, drawing from the wellspring of Irish myths, craft stories that resonate with the same emotional intensity as the ancient sagas. The mystical landscapes, magical creatures, and epic quests found in modern fantasy can often trace their origins back to the mythological narratives of Ireland, illustrating how these ancient stories continue to inspire and shape the genre. The enduring power of Irish mythology in literature is a testament to the emotional depth and universal appeal of these ancient tales. Whether through the lyrical beauty of Yeats's poetry, the modernist experimentation of Joyce, or the imaginative worlds of contemporary fantasy, the myths of Ireland continue to captivate and inspire. They offer a bridge between the past and the present, allowing readers and writers alike to connect with a heritage that speaks to the heart in profound and moving ways. The stories of the ancient gods and heroes, the magical creatures, and the mystical lands of Ireland are more than just legends. They are a living, breathing part of the literary tradition. They remind us of the power of myth to transcend time, to touch the soul, and to inspire the imagination. Through the works of Yeats, Joyce, and countless modern fantasy writers, Irish mythology lives on, carrying its timeless messages into the world of today, where it continues to evoke wonder and resonate with the deepest parts of our humanity. In the flicker of a film's opening scene, the clash of swords, and the haunting notes of a soundtrack, Irish mythology springs to life in modern popular culture. Through films, TV shows, and video games, these ancient tales have been revived, reimagined, and woven into the fabric of today's entertainment. Each portrayal brings a new dimension to the myths, blending the old with the new in ways that captivate audiences and evoke a deep sense of wonder. Movies often serve as a grand stage for Irish mythology, casting its legendary figures in a dazzling array of adventures and conflicts. Films like The Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea bring to life the enchanting world of Celtic folklore with stunning animation and a profound respect for the source material. These films are more than visual spectacles, they are heartfelt tributes to the myths that have shaped the cultural landscape of Ireland. They portray the timeless themes of bravery, love, and loss through vibrant characters and stories that resonate with both children and adults. As viewers are transported to magical realms, they experience the ancient stories with fresh eyes and renewed appreciation. Television series, too, have embraced the allure of Irish mythology, crafting narratives that blend mythic elements with contemporary storytelling. Shows like The Last Kingdom and Vikings incorporate aspects of Irish legends, offering viewers a glimpse into the rich tapestry of mythological history while exploring complex human experiences. Through episodic storytelling, these shows allow audiences to immerse themselves in the drama of the ancient world, where gods and heroes walk among mortals, and every conflict carries the weight of epic significance. The portrayal of mythological themes in TV shows creates a bridge between the ancient and the modern, making the old tales accessible and engaging to a new generation. Video games have also become a vibrant canvas for Irish mythology, allowing players to step directly into the world of myths and legends. Games like Hades and God of War, Ragnarok draw inspiration from various mythological traditions, including Celtic lore. These games offer interactive experiences where players can engage with mythic figures, explore enchanted landscapes, and face trials that echo the challenges of ancient heroes. The immersive nature of video games provides a unique way to experience the myths, turning the stories into adventures where players can feel the thrill of battle, the weight of destiny, and the magic of the mythical world. The depiction of Irish mythology in popular culture does more than entertain, it serves as a reminder of the power and beauty of these ancient tales. Through modern films, TV shows, and video games, the myths are not merely retold but reimagined, bringing new layers of meaning and relevance to contemporary audiences. They connect the past with the present, showing how the themes and stories of ancient Ireland continue to resonate across time and medium. The emotional impact of these portrayals is profound. They evoke the timeless magic of the myths, stirring feelings of wonder, nostalgia, and connection. For those familiar with the ancient stories, seeing them brought to life in new forms is a powerful experience that renews their significance. For newcomers, these modern interpretations offer a gateway into a rich and captivating world, sparking curiosity and inspiring a deeper exploration of the myths that have shaped human imagination for centuries. In every frame, scene, and level, Irish mythology continues to enchant and inspire, proving that the ancient stories have a place in the modern world. Through the lens of popular culture, these myths remain vibrant and alive, touching hearts and imaginations in ways that transcend the boundaries of time and space. The legacy of Irish mythology endures, its echoes resonating through the stories we tell and the worlds we create, bridging the gap between the ancient past and the ever-evolving present. In the quiet corners of Ireland, where the mist clings to the rolling hills and the wind whispers through ancient trees, the heartbeat of a timeless tradition persists. This tradition is not etched in stone or bound in books, but is carried in the voices of storytellers who breathe life into Ireland's rich tapestry of myths. Oral tradition is a living force, a bridge connecting generations through stories of gods, heroes, and magical lands. Picture a small, cozy room, lit only by the flickering light of a hearth. Elders gather around, their faces illuminated by the warm glow as they spin tales that have traveled through centuries. Each word is carefully chosen, each pause filled with the weight of history. The listeners, young and old, hang on every syllable, their imaginations ignited by stories of fierce battles, enchanting fairies, and heroic quests. This is how myths were kept alive long before the written word captured their essence. The oral tradition was more than just storytelling, it was a vital part of cultural identity, a way of teaching values and preserving history. The stories of Ireland's past, passed down through generations, are a testament to the power of the human voice. These narratives are not merely recounted, they are performed with passion, emotion, and an intimate understanding of their significance. Each storyteller brings their own flair, adding layers of depth and personal touch to the tales. Through their voices, the past is made present, and the ancient myths continue to resonate with the same magic that enchanted their ancestors. However, as the world changes and the pace of life quickens, there is a growing concern about preserving this precious oral tradition. Modern technology and the rush of daily life threaten to overshadow the quiet, intimate moments where these stories were once shared. Recognizing this, there have been significant efforts to ensure that the voices of the past are not lost. These efforts include recording sessions where traditional storytellers share their knowledge, archiving these recordings, and creating educational programs that teach the art of storytelling to new generations. In schools and communities, workshops are held to teach the craft of storytelling, ensuring that the next generation understands the importance of preserving these myths. Young people are encouraged to listen, learn, and eventually share these stories themselves. By engaging with the myths, they become part of a living tradition, keeping the stories alive and relevant in a world that is rapidly changing. Moreover, festivals and gatherings dedicated to Irish folklore celebrate these stories, bringing together people from all walks of life. These events are more than just entertainment, they are a reaffirmation of the cultural heritage that binds people together. Here, the oral tradition is honored and celebrated, ensuring that the stories are not just remembered but experienced and cherished by everyone present. The emotional weight of these efforts is profound. Each recorded tale, each lesson taught, and each festival held is a promise to keep the stories alive for future generations. It is a way of honoring those who came before and ensuring that their voices, their struggles, and their dreams are not forgotten. The myths of Ireland are not just stories, they are the heartbeats of a culture, the echoes of a distant past that still speaks to the present. Through the oral tradition, the past and present intertwine, creating a living tapestry of stories that continue to inspire and captivate. The efforts to preserve this tradition are not just about keeping old stories alive, they are about maintaining a vital connection to our shared heritage. Every storyteller who passes down a tale, every listener who hears it, and every person who retells it helps to keep this ancient tradition vibrant and meaningful. The preservation of the oral tradition is a profound act of love and respect. It ensures that the myths of Ireland, rich with wonder, magic, and wisdom, will continue to be a source of inspiration and connection for generations to come. Each story is a thread in the tapestry of human experience, linking past, present, and future in a seamless continuum of shared heritage and collective memory. Imagine standing on the lush, green hills of Ireland, where the mist seems to carry whispers of ancient tales. The land itself feels alive with stories that have been passed down through the ages, shaping not just the landscape but the very soul of the people who inhabit it. Irish mythology, with its gods, heroes, and magical creatures, weaves through the fabric of everyday life, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those who call Ireland home. The myths of Ireland are more than just old stories, they are a living part of Irish identity. They echo in the music played in cozy pubs, and the dances performed at festivals, and in the warmth of the hearth where families gather. Each myth carries with it a piece of history, a fragment of the past that continues to resonate in the present. The legends of Cú Chulainn's bravery, the enchantments of the fairies, and the wisdom of the salmon of knowledge are not mere tales of old, they are a vibrant thread in the tapestry of Irish culture. In the hearts of the Irish people, these myths are cherished not only for their enchanting narratives, but for what they represent. They speak of resilience, courage, and the unbreakable connection between humanity and the natural world. The stories are a reflection of a people who have faced hardships and celebrated triumphs, who have been shaped by their land and their gods. They are reminders of the values and ideals that continue to guide the community today. Every corner of Ireland seems to whisper the echoes of these ancient tales. From the towering cliffs of Maher to the ancient ruins of Newgrange, the landscape is dotted with sites that hold the memories of the gods and heroes of old. The myths are a map of Ireland's soul, each location a chapter in a book that continues to be written. The rolling hills, the still lakes, and the mist-covered glens are more than just scenery, they are the settings of timeless stories that continue to inspire and captivate. These myths also influence the arts and literature of Ireland, imbuing them with a depth and resonance that might otherwise be missing. Writers like W.B. Yeats and James Joyce have drawn upon these rich traditions, infusing their works with the magic and mystery of Irish folklore. The stories of old are not just confined to history, they are alive in the pages of contemporary literature, in the songs sung by modern musicians, and in the films that bring these ancient tales to new audiences. The enduring legacy of Irish mythology is also a testament to the power of storytelling itself. In every telling of a myth, there is a spark of the original magic that first inspired it. Each generation finds its own meaning in these stories, adapting them to reflect their own experiences and values. The myths are not static relics of the past, but living, breathing entities that evolve and grow with each retelling. In the embrace of these ancient tales, there is a profound sense of connection and continuity. The stories bind together past and present, creating a bridge that links the ancestors with their descendants. They remind the people of Ireland of where they come from and who they are, grounding them in a rich cultural heritage that is both deeply personal and universally shared. The impact of Irish mythology extends far beyond the shores of Ireland itself. As the stories travel across the globe, they touch the hearts of people from all walks of life. The themes of heroism, love, and the supernatural resonate with a universal audience, making the myths not only a cornerstone of Irish culture but a source of inspiration for all who encounter them. The legacy of Irish mythology is a living testament to the power of stories to shape our identities and our imaginations. These ancient tales continue to inspire, comfort, and challenge, reminding us of the enduring power of myth to connect us with something greater than ourselves. They are a source of pride, a wellspring of creativity, and a testament to the enduring spirit of a people who have kept their stories alive through centuries of change. In every whispered legend and every echo of the past, the myths of Ireland continue to shine brightly, a beacon of hope, magic, and timeless wisdom.